You can hear the birds. It's in some thick trees at the moment. Just trying to find it again. Let's have a good look here. It is still there. It's very tricky to see. Can you see it, Chandra, in that little clump in the tree? The babblers, basically exactly where those babblers are there. It's busy striking. I wonder from here you might be able to see. Have a look around and see that dark little clump through those branches, that rather thick stem. That's a snake.
Yeah, got it.
Got it, there we go. There it is. Isn't that amazing, everyone? And that's why the arrow-marked babblers, there was an orange-breasted bushshrike, fork-tailed drongos, there's a lot of birds. There were starlings also. All these birds have come to alarm call at the snake, and some of them have just come to investigate to see what the others are alarm calling at. Now, Brent and Jamie are back. They're going to be on the vehicles this afternoon. They've had a little bit of a break just for the week, and preparing for our television show Sunday evening. And James will be in the tent, and myself and Jean-Dre will be on bushwalk. There's a lot going on here at the moment. Wow, look at that. Isn't that amazing? I find it fascinating how that snake is just sitting there. It was striking at the birds earlier, but it's amazing how the birds are able to get out the way so quickly. This is very exciting. It looks like our bush babies have disappeared. Just having a look around to see, but is it? Can you see it? Wow. It's incredible how these birds and these babblers go and attack the snake to try and mob it, to chase it away. Oh, that snake is trying its best. Or it's, like I said, it's a female Boomslang. She's brown in color. The males are often a greenish, sometimes yellow-black color in certain parts of South Africa. But this is a female. Quite a big female by the looks of things. This is incredible.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
And is there any better way to start off a rainy afternoon than with a cuddling pair of Africa's most iconic big cats? Spectacular. This is Safari Live.
Ready.
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Safari Live. You can see a fairly blustery and grey afternoon here for the Sunset Safari. Drone Commander Connor Teagues back in the air, filming an afternoon of 27 degrees Fahrenheit. No, not Fahrenheit, Celsius, and 79 degrees Fahrenheit. My name is James Hendry, and I'm going to be talking to you from the little tent this afternoon. Many of you will know that, of course. Please do talk to us. Hashtag Safari Live on the tweet is the best way to get hold of us. You can also use the email questions@wildearth.tv. Craig is on camera today, and we have some very exciting things to show you in the tent, including some tadpoles and hopefully some caterpillars and various other bits and pieces that our fossicker-in-chief, Taylor McCurdy, is looking around in the wilderness for. We have the drone up, we will hopefully have the dam cam, and hopefully also the rover. So much excitement as we build up for the TV show today, no, not today, on Sunday evening, 11 o'clock p.m. in North America. That's 6 o'clock Central African time on Monday morning. So that's when the TV show is, and that's why there's a huge sort of excitement around here. Byron is on foot today, Brent Leo Smith is looking for leopards, and Jamie is with the Birmingham Boys.
And a very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome on our Sunset Safari. And as James has explained in his usual succinct fashion, you are on a live safari here from the middle of the Greater Kruger National Park, more specifically right on the western edge of Djuma. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon VM is on camera with me, and we're starting off it's your first afternoon back at work, isn't it, VM? Yeah. So we're starting off our first afternoon back at work in the best possible way. As you can see, it is a little bit grey and gloomy, or perhaps you can't see, and the reason you can't see is because, there we go, it's a little bit grey and gloomy. It's been drizzling on and off all day, which means, of course, we do have our roofs on to make sure that none of the equipment gets wet. It is beautifully designed in a way that redirects the water onto the driver. It's perfect. VM, work of art, well done. And, of course, we are sitting with the beautiful boys who are having a jolly good cuddle this afternoon. It looks very cozy there. I am told that it's 27 degrees centigrade, which is 80 in Fahrenheit. I beg to differ. It's a little bit chillier, which means that our lions are quite happy to cuddle up next to each other, use each other as pillows and blankets and all sorts. That doesn't look like a very comfortable pillow, though, I have to say. The hock of the male lion that he's lying on. So that's definitely Tino. I'm not sure about the other male. But for those of you that are perhaps new to these live safaris, these are... Oh. Hey, buddy. Giving each other cuddles. These are the Birmingham Boys, which are the dominant male lions of this area. And over the course of the last few months, we've watched them come in as interlopers to becoming the dominant pair in this particular section. And one is definitely Tino. That's Tino over there. Now, it's not just us out here, as James explained, and there's some exciting things happening with Byron on foot. Let's go and see what's happening just outside the camp that we live in.
Jamie, we have indeed found something very exciting. We literally have just left camp. We're still in camp, and we heard birds' alarm calling and going mad. We came to investigate, and we found a snake up in the tree, a female boomslang. There were also some bush babies jumping around because they were alerted by all these birds. Now, I've never seen bush babies out during the day. It was incredible to see, and some of you might have seen it just in that pre-show section. I'm so glad we got to show it to you. But let's see, the snake is still up there. The birds seem to have calmed down a bit, and it's quite interesting. There's still a crested barbet up there, but they're jumping around quite a bit. It's probably tricky to see. You might just get a glimpse of that snake curled up in the tree. Now, Driss, you want to know if the boomslangs eat eggs? They will indeed. If they do come across a nest, they do raid nests, and they will eat eggs as well as chicks. Usually they prefer chicks and birds, but they will indeed feed on eggs when they are moving around through the trees and looking for nests. And that's what boomslang means, is tree snake. And we can see the way it's curled up there. It's very comfortable with being in a tree. They are incredibly agile snakes, amazing climbers. You can see the tongue and the head just sticking out, but you can probably see the tongue flicking. Oh, that is really fantastic, wonderful. Oh, look at that tongue. Can you see that? Now, we know that reptiles, and especially snakes, use their tongue to taste the air. It's a sensory organ. Be able to work out what is around them. Now, this female boomslang was striking at the birds. I'm very surprised she didn't actually hit one of them. And the birds are obviously just too fast for her. But she is still moving around there. It's one of the birds. Bit tricky to see with all this foliage around at the moment. Oh, there's a This is really a great start to the walk right in camp. It's amazing. Just shows you, some of you ask whereabout we live. We do live in the wild. We encounter a lot of animals around camp. We do have to always be aware of what's around us. But the boomslang is generally a very placid snake. They do try to avoid people as much as possible. And if you do come across them, they usually climb up into the tree and get out of your way. They are back-fanged, which means the fangs sit right at the back of their mouth, and they have hemotoxic venom. Now, hemotoxic means that basically it attacks the blood, and you bleed internally from a bite of a boomslang. But they actually not responsible for. Oh, there's a bushbaby. Bushbaby's back. Just off to the right. He's going to climb up into the tree. There he goes. Look here, everyone. The bushbaby's back. Wow, this is amazing. Look at that, jumping around. Now I'm surprised because that little bushbaby will be very wary of the boomslang. Oh, look at that. This is really fantastic. As I said, I've never seen a bushbaby during the day. Look at those big eyes scanning around. Now it's obviously got those big eyes because they are mainly nocturnal. You see those ears, they really listen out very, very well. They'll feed on insects, but usually the sap. They prefer the sap of acacia trees. That's what the bushbabies will feed on. I hope you are all enjoying this as much as I am. This is really, really great. Now, yesterday we had leopards and some elephant around with Taylor. And it just shows you there's so much going on, including these tiny creatures like snakes and bush babies, which you don't see very often, especially during the day. Just having a quick check on the snake. It hasn't moved. It's still curled up in the top of the branches. I think we should just enjoy this bush baby for a moment. Maybe it jumps for us. There's a beautiful grey-headed bush shrike calling. You can just hear that sound. That and you say the bush baby's so fat. Oh, do you think so, Anne? I don't know. Yeah, I suppose maybe. I think it's fluffy and furry. I mean, they are so cute. They really, that's the best way to describe them, just cute. Look how agile it is climbing on these branches. That's a lovely view of it through there. Now, Shelley, no, this is not the same thing as a lemur, not at all. They're very different. These are related to primates, though. They're nocturnal primates. We have the lesser Bushbaby, which is this one we can see, and then a greater Bushbaby, which is much bigger than that. Much, much bigger. Oh, look at that, it is incredible. Not related to the lemur though. Now, there are a lot of sharp thorns on this tree. It's climbing a big buffalo thorn, or Ziziphus macronata, but these thorns don't seem to bother it. It's able to move around very, very well. Now, interesting thing is bush babies are territorial, so they will be moving around in an area that they've set up a territory in. And how they mark their territory is also quite interesting. They actually urinate on their hands, and while they're moving about, their hands will then leave the scent, and that is to mark their territory. James Duncan, very good question. You asked how much does the daytime hinder their sight because of them being nocturnal. Now, fortunately, it's actually very grey this afternoon, so it's not too bright. We've had very cloudy conditions today, so I don't think it hinders them too much in conditions like this, but they are very, very careful, I'm sure, not to affect their eyesight too much, and that's why they generally stay in dark holes in trees and that, sleep there until it gets dark. But I don't know if it will actually affect their eyesight very much if it is bright out. I'm really not too sure. The snake is still there. Alright, well, this was a fantastic way to start our bushwalk. I think we're going to move on and head out, see what we can find, but let's head over to Brent, who would love to say good afternoon to you.
Hello and welcome to this wonderful but slightly cloudy sunset safari. My name, of course, is Brent Leo Smith. I have my incredible cameraman with his many-armed thumb today, so not only is there a finger, but there are many arms to the octopus. And of course, together we are the Killer Bees. And the Killer Bees have had a bit of a quiet start. We are in search of the royal family. I've just got an update from Herbie that there are some upset impala around Philemon's Dip, so I'm going to race towards that area and hopefully we'll have some luck with the leopard. Now remember, if you want to ask us any questions, hashtag Safari Live is the best form of communication, and I'd love to hear from you. Also let me know where you are in this wonderful wide world of ours. But isn't it lovely and green and lush, and summer's here and the flowers are out and the woodlands kingfishers are chirping away? Ah, it's good to be in the bush. Now, what a wonderful sighting Byron's happening with that bush baby and that rock, and the boomslang. Now, speaking about bush babies and reptiles, Jamie and I have an unwanted guest in our house. It's about this big, and it's trying to eat the bush babies and the baby bush babies that live in our roof. And I'm still perplexed to how a 2+ meter rock monitor managed to get inside into the awnings and rafters of our house. When I first saw this long reptilian tail hanging out of the roof, I thought there was a snake above my couch, but it turned out to be a monitor lizard, and I still hadn't managed to get him out of the house by the time we left today to come back to Djuma. So I'm at the moment perplexed at how I am going to get said 2 meter rock monitor out of, well, it's probably about 8 meters up in the roofs. And he looks very happy there. I'm very unhappy with him being there, though. What do you think, Brian?
I think it's pretty cool. You got a rock monitor in the roof.
The novelty wears off when he lets loose a large deposit that lands on the couch. The other problem is that once I'm up there, how do I deal with his swinging tail? Of course, you've seen monitor lizards on the show use that tail in defense against leopards. Now, a leopard's a bit more agile and a bit faster moving than me, especially when I'm 7 meters up a step ladder with a pillowcase, trying to get the monitor into a pillowcase. A very wonderful temperature at the moment, mid-20s, so 70 odd Fahrenheit. Now we're nearly into that area where Herbie said he heard some very irate impala, and hopefully we're going to be able to find those leopards. But while we need to focus all our amazing killer bee skills at finding a Queen Karula or one of the offspring, let's go back to that slithering reptile with Byron.
I said we were going to leave, but things got a bit interesting here again, and I thought we'd stay because this snake is moving around a bit, the Boomslang. You can see here, and the birds have come back to mob it. The Bushbaby appears to have moved off. I think it's gone back into a hole in a tree somewhere. And as it jumped once or twice, and we lost it in thick foliage. But have a look at that snake. You can see the tongue moving in and out, tasting the air, basically working out what's around it. And you see every now and then these birds come in, a lot of starlings around, and they'll mob the snake, trying to chase it away, I assume. And that's funny, even though there might not be a nest nearby, because it is a predator, the birds will alarm call and mob it to try chase it away, especially a boomslang. Charlotte from Port Elizabeth. Hello, Charlotte. I wonder what the weather's like down there at the moment in the windy city. Now, Charlotte, I'm not sure who's more afraid, the snake or the birds. Judging by the bird's behavior, I think the snake is. Aramark babblers are back. Listen to that. So I think it's the snake, Charlotte, because the way they are mobbing the snake, they're not afraid at all. That's amazing. Listen. Now that's what I heard initially. All these birds, alarm calling, the starlings screeching, the babblers going mad. And that's how I managed to find the snake earlier. And we've spoken about this before. Just listen out to the bush, because you'll often find other interesting creatures if you listen to birds, or like Brent is listening to those impala alarm calling. Maybe he manages to find a leopard. Let's see what happens here. Oh, isn't this fascinating? We're going to stay with the snake for a while and see what happens if the birds chase it away. But while we do that, we're going to head to a short ad break. Join us again afterwards and see what happens. All right, everyone, you still with us? Our internet viewers. And we are practicing our commercial breaks for our TV show on Sunday. Let's see what happens. This boomslang's moving around. Wow. And you'll see if she starts moving. Mary, we do not carry anti-venom with us at all. We don't even have it in camp. Because, Mary, the reason we don't carry anti-venom, and listen to these birds, they are going mad. the Boomslang striking at them. This is amazing. This really is a fascinating sighting. So, Mary, we don't carry anti-venom or keep it in camp because often what can happen is people may react badly towards the anti-venom, actually worse than the actual venom. So you have to be so careful with administering anti-venom. You can only do it in a hospital. And only a professional can administer it. Have to give the right dose. It also depends on the snake that bites you. Nowadays, what they do in hospital is they'll treat the actual symptoms of the snake bite, and they won't give you anti-venom. For example, a black mamba is neurotoxic. It contains neurotoxic venom which attacks the nervous system, shuts down your breathing. So all they would do is put you on ventilators and try and basically cleanse your system, wait for the poison, or the venom rather, to work out of your body. So you do have to be very careful with antivenom. So we don't carry it at all. If someone gets bitten, we do our best to treat the symptoms until we get them to a hospital. Depending on how serious the bite is and from which snake will depend on what measures we take to get them to hospital. Whether it's a helicopter airlift, or just drive them out to the nearest hospital. Okay, let's head back to James in the tent, see what he's managed to find.
I have not managed to find anything, but I have managed to just about destroy this poor bee's nest. Now, what I'm trying to do is put some black cardboard around the entrance hole so that we can look at it properly through the microscope. And we'll try and have a look when TV comes back in 2 minutes. Obviously, that's completely ridiculous because there is no TV today, but it is very necessary to do our little practices, and we thank you very much for bearing with us during these, well, not trying times, but these rehearsal times. All right. Oh, no, I have made the most unspeakable mess of these poor bees' home. They're going to have to rebuild this. Oh, shame. I feel dreadful about myself right now. I'm almost suicidal. It's okay, everybody. I'll try and sort that out later. I'm trying desperately to maintain my sense of humor with myself. Okay. Now, we have some interesting things. We have 3 interesting things here. We're going to continue with our show, and then I will give a recap, of course, when the fake TV audience comes back. This rather special creature is called a click beetle. It is not eaten by a boomslang. It is not eaten by lions. It is not eaten even by the killer bees. But I'm going to show it to you anyway. And what it's supposed to do is turn onto its front. It doesn't seem to be turning onto its front, though. You can see it's not dead, it is pretending to be dead. And how it turns onto its front, if I do this, well, I'll tell you when we come back to TV. I have also, of course, got dirty fingernails on account of digging around outside. I have to sort that problem out as well. All right, here we go. Back to TV. Bear with us. Welcome back, everybody, to your live safari from the western fringes of the great Kruger National Park. My name is James Henry. Brent is out there looking for leopards. Jamie's with lions. And Byron, just outside this tent, is with a snake. Hashtag Safari Live is the best way to get hold of us. In fact, it's the only way to get hold of us. That's only for TV. You can still email us questions@wildearth.tv. All right, that is that rehearsal over. Now, this click beetle, if we look at him, he's got there a ridge. Can you see that ridge? Ooh, dirty fingernails. That ridge there, he uses, that one there, to tuck into the back of the carapace, and then he flicks it. And what it does is if he's on his back, he'll flick over onto his front. Now let's have a look at it through the microscope. It's probably a bit easier. Now, he doesn't like the microscope, this fellow. We might actually get him to click while he's under the microscope. Right, let's have a look there. Now, on the bottom of the screen there, you can see the sharp edge. And as I zoom forward, that's the edge under which that sharp edge clicks. And then he sort of flicks it back out, and it makes a loud clicking noise which deters predators and flicks him back onto his front. And if we look at him, I'm just going to turn him around in the microscope. There, he's clicking. Did you hear him clicking? There. Let's see if we can get him to do it while he's under the microscope. And he's also making a noise. Ooh, he's doing it. There, look. Can you see that? See how he's pushing that ridge under the carapace? Here he goes. There he goes. Oh, that's wonderful. Isn't that awesome? Now, let us hope that he survives long enough to make his world television debut at Central African time, 6 o'clock on Monday morning, 11 p.m. Sunday evening on Nat Geo Wild in North America. All right, so that's the click beetle. Let's come back to him. Now, you calm down. Take it easy. Shh, 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 shh. Ooza. Ooza. Have you ever seen anyone do that before? Eh? He's not moving anymore. I am the click beetle whisperer. Let us head back to Byron, the snake whisperer.
I don't know about a snake whisperer, maybe more bird whisperer, James, because the birds told me where the snake was. It's still up in the tree, and this is just such an incredible sighting. We don't often get to see snakes, and if we do, it's often a flash and they disappear. So to be able to sit underneath a boomslang like this and see these birds mobbing it, it's striking at them, and the birds picking at the snake, really is amazing. Debbie, I don't think these babblers would actually kill the snake. I think they would purely try and mob it to chase it away. Now, they pick at it. I highly doubt they'd be able to kill the snake. The babblers, they do not hunt snakes or eat snakes. They're more seed eaters. Now, there's that beautiful grey-haired bushshrike calling again. It's a bit difficult to see. They jump around, those bush shrikes. So we'll stay on the snake for the moment. The bush babies have moved off. Like I said, I think they disappeared into a hole in a tree somewhere. Wow, the bird life around us is really great at the moment. The babblers, the starlings, the grey-headed bush shrike. I'm sure you can hear these sounds around us. Lily, good question. What is the difference between an alarm call and a normal call? So the alarm calls generally from certain birds, especially these starlings, these babblers, you can hear the sounds they're making. But when birds are all congregated in an area, it's usually the sign that it's an alarm call. But those starlings, their alarm call was what alerted me, and it's basically a screech, if that makes sense. Like I can't do it, unfortunately. I'll see if they do it again. They're not doing it at the moment. The starlings aren't. It's just the babblers, and because all these birds are around here, they were screeching earlier. We may hear it again, and that's what alerted me to the snake. Now, speaking about all these birds around, Jamie has a beautiful lilac-breasted roller she'd like to show you.
A beautiful, if somewhat bedraggled bird in the form of a lilac-breasted roller that's giving us the perfect demonstration of the current climactic conditions. You can see his feathers blowing about in the wind, not terribly comfortable looking, in fact, rather miserable looking lilac-breasted roller. But of course, this weather brings out all kinds. No, don't you go away. Sorry, I'm not talking to the roller. I'm talking to the other bird. I wanted to say to you that for our new viewers, oh dear, there's a roof pole in the way. For our new viewers, we always encourage you. Oh, there he goes. There's one right where? Oh, there's one right there. Hey, surprise! Didn't realize there were two. Right, what I was going to say was that for our new viewers, we always encourage you to keep a bird list. So essentially, any bird that you see on our live safaris, you add to a list. Maybe keep screenshots. I'm not obviously going to dictate the way in which you do it, but it's a really, really lovely way of keeping track of the different birds that we see. And for some of our newer viewers, this might be a new bird for you because we don't often see them. There, could you hear that call? Yeah. And there you go, that was the call of this particular bird as well. It's called a Swainson's spurfowl. So, of course, related to the crested francolin, the, what do you call those things again? Natal spurfowl, sorry. Had a blank moment there for a second. On all of those sort of game-type little birds that we see, the little ground birds, they can fly. They look a little bit sort of partridge-like in their body structure. And a Swainson's is quite unusual to see. And we do see them every now and again, but it might be a nice one to add to your list. And, of course, it's easily identifiable. Very, very different call, making lots of noise. Where was I? Oh yes, I was going to say, it's very easily identifiable given that its face is bright red. You can't really mistake it for anything else out here. Bright red face and bright red throat. Yes, we see you. We've spotted you. We know that you're there. Keeping a very close, very beady eye on us. Now, obviously, I have left the lines. We'll be back there a little bit later this evening. In the meantime, I'm sure you don't want to be kept away from the exciting action at the DRC. Let's go back to Byron.
And look here, everyone. This little Bushbaby just stuck its head out. Now, that's a little owl box, or bird box that is sometimes used for birds. And these Bushbabies look like they are occupying it at the moment. And again, I think that all this alarm calling from these birds is what alerted this Bushbaby to come and investigate, see what is going on. Are they in danger? Because as we know, the Bushbabies are mainly nocturnal. So this is really, really special to be able to see one. And again, all of this is happening in our camp. It really is wonderful, and it's sightings like this that I really enjoy because it's where we live. You just understand again that we are living in nature. Things are happening around us all the time. The snake is still. We just wanted to show you this Bushbaby, and as it just disappeared back in. Because let's see if he sticks his head back out. As I mentioned, this is the first time I've ever seen a Bushbaby out during the day. So that is really special sighting, and just to see it climbing around. Let's see now, we can. The snake again, still up there, same position. Just starling now, the birds seem to have moved. Maybe the snake will eventually move off. These birds stopping it. I think I was worried it moved around too much, that the birds would attack it even more. So it's preferred to kind of hide in the thorns of this buffalo thorn tree. And then the birds have all moved up. So I think what we might do is also leave this area now, so that if the snake did want to move on or move down from the tree, it could do so. Wasn't this amazing? I've never seen a Bushbaby come out and investigate a snake or as I said, is just a bush baby during the day. I mean, even at night, when you do see them, it's often a glimpse because they jump and they move around very, very quickly. Very special sighting. I really hope you've enjoyed it and you understand just how rare it is to see it. Alright, we are going to leave the DRC now, head out on our bushwalk. Let's head over to Brent and get an update from him and his impala that were alarm calling.
Just going to turn off the audio. There we are. Sorry about that freeze. We don't know what froze or why it fries, and should it freeze again, well, you'll be back in the tent. Look what I have here. This was collected for me by none other, obviously, than the Fossicker-in-Chief. That is Taylor McCurdy. And it is an ice cream container full of tadpoles, and I'm not going to turn it too much to camera on account of the fact that the tadpoles will end up on the floor. Now, what I'm trying desperately to do is to get one of these things under the microscope. Now, that is not a very easy task, given that they are fairly mobile, but there are one or two that are a bit lazier than the others, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to catch one. Here we go. Oh, there it is. How cool is that? There it's gone. Okay. And now they're swimming around. Oh dear. Sorry, this is very difficult. This is advanced microscope using, everybody. Seriously advanced. All right, let's come back to me. Let me find another one that's static. I might put them in the fridge. No, I won't put them in the fridge, I promise. But what we're going to try and do for the TV show, everybody, is keep these things and see how they develop. We will feed them, obviously. Feed them algae. And we'll see how they develop over the course of the next 5 weeks or so. That'll be quite fun, I think. I don't know what species of frog they are. Taylor doesn't know either. But we'll just have a watch and see. I just need to perfect how we're going to do this for TV, how best we can view them, perhaps put them in a slightly smaller container. I'm not sure, but it's very cool. When they eventually do settle down, it's quite magnificent. All right, I think that's enough of that before you get all nauseous on me. I will do a little bit more work on that sort of thing. Now, we have a visitor at the tent, and I don't know what he wants. Hello, Byron.
Hello, James.
What do you want in the tent?
I just thought you were getting lonely, and
I'm not.
My journey...
I'm not getting lonely.
On my journey back, I thought I'd bring you a little bug to look at under the microscope.
Jewel beetly.
Little jewel beetly.
Thank you.
I'm going to head back out on bushwalk. Enjoy it,
Good.
James.
Goodbye, Byron.
Goodbye.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Safety is key. Don't take chances. Take your broomstick. Ask Byron to tell you about his broomstick story. It's quite amusing. Now, we are going to go to a very short break. And while we do that, we don't want you to go anywhere at all. When you come back, jewel beetle under the microscope, Leo Smith on the hunt for leopards, who are hunting, and Jamie, well, she'll hopefully be back with the Birmingham Boys with more stories of them. See you shortly. Okay, we're back in normal sort of thing. Once again, thank you very much for looking after us, for bearing with us during the advert breaks. This jewel beetle is quite spectacular. We're not really going to save it for fake TV. I'm going to put it under here, and I don't know if it's alive. It looks fairly dead to me. Let me put him on, get the microscope a bit closer down. Oh, c'est bon. That really is gorgeous. There we are. No? Come on. There we are. Marvellous. You see that? It was magic, everybody. I did that purely through the force of my own will. It was no one in the final control helping us. That is the jewel beetle. I'm not sure which jewel beetle it is. There are many, many different kinds, and of their biology I know not a great deal. but to say that they appear largely on acacia trees out here, actually. And I'm not sure what this one eats. I suspect it's the flowers. And I also am not sure what evolutionary reason it would have for being this color. As far as I'm aware, males and females the same color, and why therefore they should be this shiny sort of starling green, blue and purple, yeah, I really couldn't say. Anyway, wonderful to have them with us, and we'll head across to Jamie immediately for the... What's she doing? I can't see her. I don't know what she's doing, but we'll go across to her and find out and get an update from her, and I will be fossicking around in here further.
We have a lovely little surprise in the form of a bronze-winged courser. And this has turned into something of an unusual birding day for VM and myself this afternoon. This little chap ran straight out into the road in front of us. Not a bird that we see all that regularly, again. So one that might be new for some of you that are new to these live safaris, a bronze-winged courser. And as you can tell by the size of its massive, massive eye, it is a nocturnal bird. So it's a bird that we really only see at night, and it wanders around particularly on roads looking for things to eat. Now those of you that have been watching for a while, you might remember, VM, it was with you again, the little baby bronze-winged coursers. That is the cutest thing one of the cutest things I think I've ever seen on these live drives. They were like these little bobbleheads. Their heads were enormous, far too big for their bodies, and they're tiny, tiny little bodies, and they all went and rushed under Mom's protection and under her wings. It was really, really cute. I'd love to see that again. It was my first time seeing baby bronze-winged coursers. Now, as you can see, if you look at its legs, as it runs along like a little velociraptor, if you look at its legs, you can see that the back toe is basically completely reduced in these ground birds. And you'll see it in lapwings, and you'll see it with little coursers as well. And they've got the 3 forward-facing toes and essentially no back toe. There's still a little bit of a residual bump. And you'll see in Franklin's and the spur file that we saw earlier, they've got a spur that is their residual back toe. But unlike the passerines with their 4 toes for clutching onto branches, these little coursers don't have them. Such a pretty bird. I really, really enjoy seeing them. So a nice surprise. Now, the plan for the afternoon wasn't actually to look at bronze-winged coursers, believe it or not. The plan for the afternoon, apparently while I've been away, or while we've been away, there's been a lot of increased hyena activity around the camp. Lots of noise, lots of whooping, which of course always lends us to that strong belief, the firm belief, that once again the spotted hyenas will return to us. So I've just checked the Aubrey's Road dens. No sign, and very sadly, hyena tracks going north into Buffelshoek, which I was sort of expecting to see. But it seems as though James has been along the same, or has been thinking along the same lines I have. Apparently he's checked along Gallagher Shortcut and Mvubu Road, and he hasn't found any sign of them, so I've done Aubrey's. Hello, little courser. One last view, since you are so nice and close. There we go. Alright, well that just leaves Philemon's Cutline and Zoe's Road. Oh, look at that. That is such a beautiful view. You can see it's a bird built for remaining camouflaged, relying on camouflage to hide it away, which we saw very clearly with those babies when Mom nestled them under her feathers and under her wings. It's okay, little one. I'm not going to hurt you. Beautiful opportunity for some screenshots. Okay, onwards, I think, in search of hyena dens. I have a feeling if they're going to come back, they're going to come back to the northern dens first. I'm not sure, but because this is a live safari, you just never know what to expect. We are going to be taking a short and imaginary break, but don't go anywhere. Brent might find the leopards. We might... Sorry, Kirsty, I could not hear what you just said. Sorry, a little bit of confusion there. My apologies. Whoopsie. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen in the actual television show. Apparently we were going back to TV, not into ad break. My sincerest apologies. I thought James had come out of ad break. I got confused. My mistake. Not Kirsty's, my mistake. Welcome back, imaginary TV audiences. It's lovely to have you on board. My name is Jamie. This is a live safari. We're on Djuma, Greater Kruger National Park. Please send through your questions on #SafariLive on Twitter. Done. Having thoroughly messed up Kirsty's plan. Sorry, Kirst. Kirsty is our lovely director, by the way, for those of you that are new. Thought I'd tell you the tale of the continuing saga of animals that like to live in Brent and Jamie's domicile. So obviously Brent and I have a house in Hoedspruit, and as you can imagine, living in Hoedspruit it is a wilderness area. You get all sorts of exciting things. Now, we were under the impression that we were hosts to a family of Bushbabies, which I think we were at one stage, up in our thatch roof. Unfortunately, I don't think we are any longer, due to the fact that there is now a rock monitor roughly this big living in our roof. And we have absolutely no idea what. It's very fat, very contented. I think it's been chewing on... apparently Brent has told you this story. It seems as though we're on the same page. Brent, by the way, has had to go back to DRC just to sort out some vehicle issues. Okay, so he took my thunder. Drat. I was hoping to get there before him. Alright. Did he tell the story of the black mamba, or is that been covered as well? Black mamba in the pillowcase. What did he do that I didn't know about? I was thinking more along the line, shame. It was actually quite a sad situation. Monitor lizards. No, it was actually, this was a bit of a sad story. Commonly happens. We were at a place called Three Bridges, which is a restaurant outside of Hoedspruit on the Olifants River that borders on one of the reserve that's part of the Greater Kruger. And there was a black mamba crossing the road, and Brent tried to get to it. I mean, I just saw him sprinting off into the traffic, which was relatively scary at the time. And he came back clutching a poor mamba that had, not clutching, on a stick, a black mamba that had been hit by a truck. And he tried to get there in time to pull it, to sort of chase it off the road or do something, but he didn't manage. But it did give us a really nice opportunity to closely examine what is an amazing snake. And you've been looking at that Boomslang with Byron, and I'm sure he's touched on the fact that it's back-fanged. In other words, its fangs, quite an old primitive snake, and that its fangs sit right at the back with grooves rather than hollows like a hypodermic needle. But we sat with the black mamba, obviously very carefully, and please don't ever try this with snakes in Africa, because a lot of snakes do what's known as thanatosis, which is playing dead. If they feel threatened, they often play dead. Mambas don't usually, but it is possible, and it's also possible to envenomate yourself with a dead snake because they twitch. They've obviously got so much in the way of so many nerves running through their bodies that after they die, they can twitch and they can bite, even once they're dead. So don't play with dead snakes, please, if you ever come to visit Africa, or any dead snakes, actually. However, because we know what we're doing, we did have a chance to examine the top of its mouth. It was amazing to really have a close chance to examine it. Now, Ruth, you want to know if snakes here hibernate. And the answer is no, they don't hibernate, but you're right, we don't often see them during winter. Well, I'm not seeing much at all this afternoon. Must be the weather. So they don't hibernate. They do something that's known as estivation, which is very similar, but it's less to do with temperature and more to do with the fact that it's quite dry out here. So their metabolism slows down. They go into a state of almost dormancy, and they'll hide away in crevices and termite mounds and all sorts of places where they can shelter away from the dryness and also be kept safe from predators while their metabolism is running so slowly. During that time, they tend not to feed. However, on warm winter's days, it's not uncommon to see a snake come out into the road to bask. So they do come around. And there's usually quite a high-risk period in the transitions between our dry season and our wet season, so our springtime essentially, and then at the end of that as well, as the snakes either start coming out of their hiding places or looking for hiding places. And that's when a lot of people come into contact with them in houses, particularly in rainy weather, in houses and in their vehicles, because of course the vehicle's nice and warm. I just want to see something. I want to see if this is the same impala that I always see on this road. I suppose it was a bit much to think it was. Perfect. No, it's not him. There's a very easily identifiable male impala that lives on Zoe's Road that's got mange around his eyes. Makes him look unbelievably sinister. Looks like his eyes are twice the normal size, this sort of deep black color. He does have a scar. Look at that. All spotted, Liam. A scar behind his right ear. If I had to guess, and it would be a guess, I'd say that's come from battling with other male impala. That's a horn that's sliced that open, I would have thought. I think if he'd had a lucky escape from some sort of predator, I think he'd have other obvious injuries. It's just one scratch behind the ear. That's from battling other males, which the impala have been doing lots of. All the hormones around are confusing them. Are there any ripe marulas? No. Elephants have got to them first. I'm feeling the sudden craving for a nice fresh marula fruit. So while I search for some fresh marula fruit to enjoy on this cold afternoon, let us head back to Brent, who seems to be sorted out with his various rusty-based issues.
Hi! Well, welcome back. And hopefully our issues are over. And we have returned to the DRC. We're now out again. We're convinced that there has to be at least one leopard in this block. So we're just going to do another loop through here. It's not far from where James had the leopards this morning. And we're hoping in the time we've been gone, one has decided to pop up. Oh, hello Herbie. Standing by, Herb. Hey, Fem. So Herbie and Byron and Jean-Andre are coming to give us a hand. They're going to walk straight through the middle of this block. Copy, thanks very much. Appreciate it. And give us a helping hand when it comes to finding the leopards. The more eyes out there looking for them. I keep expecting to see a tail hanging from a tree, but alas, not yet. But there is a highly mobile tortoise. There we go. Hello, little guy, little speaks. Quick, 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 quick. Across the road. Oh, four-wheel drive, thick sand. There we go. Now he's decided that looks a bit too steep. He'll go that way. Must be ecstatic with all the green grass and water around. Life has become much easier for the tortoise now that we've had some rain, of course. Look at that, vanishing tortoise. There he is. Hiding. There, boys, the pole in the way. There he is. There we go. It always amazes me. Like little tanks. Oh. Squirrels, alarm calling. Just down here. I wonder who it could be. Could it be the little beauty, Shongile? Could it be the little Prince Hosanna? Or could it be the Grand Dame of Juma? Hoppa. What do you think, Brian? Who is it? Or is the squirrel seen an eagle?
All of them.
It's all of them.
All of the above.
All of the above. An eagle and 3 leopards.
That's the one.
That's the one. Okay. You have Brian's prediction. Myself, I have no idea. I think if it's going to be any, it's going to be Hasana terrorizing squirrels. Let's just switch off again here. Have another little listen. Quickly across to Herbie and Byron.
Yeah. Good. Look at this, everyone. We've come and joined Brent where he had those alarm calls, and we found a leopard on top of the termite mound. Oh, this is amazing. I'm not too sure who it is. I'm going to try have a look with my binoculars. Can't really see the head just yet from this angle. Right on top of the termite mound. Now we are probably about 40, maybe 50 meters away. Not 37 meters away. Oh, there we go. Thank goodness for the camera, Jandre. I was at 40 meters, at least I guessed kind of right. This is so exciting. What a great afternoon. I'm just keeping my voice down because I don't want to startle this leopard. I do think that this might be one of Karula's youngsters. It's lying on top of the termite mound. It's fantastic. Now, I think that perhaps it doesn't know that we've seen it, and maybe that's why it hasn't moved. I'm sure it knows that we are here because it can probably hear us. Not sure if it could smell us yet, but leopards are incredibly alert and aware of what's going around them. And I can't tell you how exciting this is, because firstly, you know how elusive leopards are, now to walk and track and find one on foot, and for you to be able to see it is incredible. It really is fantastic, and I'm very, very excited about this. What a great start to an afternoon. I'm just trying to have a look if it is moving. And what we'll do is we'll try and get Brent into the sighting so you can have a better look. I'm just changing my position slightly here. Now, if we come this side, I think through the tree, we might even have a... There we go. There's a lovely little gap through here, Jandre. Now Brent has seen us. He's going to move in. He'll be able to get you a bit closer to this leopard and show it to you. Isn't that wonderful? It does indeed look like perhaps one of Karula's youngsters. I'm not sure if they're both there. That's actually Karula, yeah. There we go, it's actually Karula, or what it looks like her. You can just see that face now, a little bit clearer. Older female. She's such a relaxed leopard. She's obviously used to being tracked. But again, we're not moving any closer. As soon as we saw her, we stopped. Now, I'm going to walk out of here. Why don't you jump on with Brent, who's right next to us, and he'll get you a bit closer.
Look, it's the back of Byron and Jandre. Well done, chaps. Thank you. We'll hog all the glory now that you've done the hard work. Cheers, guys. Thanks. Good luck. Now go find the cubs next, please. Isn't this exciting? As he said to Bushwalk, they're coming to give us a hand, and a hand they have. Now, interestingly enough, if we have a quick look behind the pole. Oh, let's go forward a little bit. There should be some Inyala. There they are. So I wonder if Karula is spying on the Inyala. There they are. From atop her termitaria. Hello, gorgeous. Don't you look wonderful today? The Queen of Djuma atop a termite mound and staring intently at Jandre, Byron and Herbie as they depart behind us. And now looking in the direction of the Inyala. Remember, if you have any questions about this incredibly elegant cat, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Oh, and look at that. She's even next to a flower. There's a poison apple. Not quite as pretty as the Queen. Oh, she's tired, kitty. taking a break from the kids. Hello, Mary. Mary's wondering, how do we name the animals? And do their names have any meanings? Indeed, they do. Well, a Karula is a bit of a strange one because it was incorrectly spelt, but the original meaning of it's supposed to be Karula is peace. And Hosanna and Shongile, her two offspring. Hosanna means little prince, and Shongile means exquisitely beautiful. And how the naming process is normally at the head rangers meetings, when the cubs get to an age where you're quite sure they're going to survive. You will get together, and everyone who traverses the property they are seen the most on will get together and decide on some names, and they'll put forward and voted on. These names of, or the names of Hosanna and Shongile were chosen by Taxon from Djuma. Look at that. She's got carrot. Is that carrot seed grass? It is too. There we go. Karula doing her best to spread the grass seeds through the African bush, helping the next generation of carrot seed grass to propagate. She's looking very, very comfy atop that termite area. Doesn't look like she's going to move any time soon. So fluffy. There we go, head in the grass. Time for a snooze. Nice vantage point so she can see things around from a distance. And quite often she might be just patiently waiting for those inyalas to inadvertently move a little closer. Although they are all male inyalas, so they might be a little bit big for her. Can see, even though she's napping, those ears are still working. Those tiny little movements as she directs her ears. What a wonderful way to start, or to get back to Djuma, but then spending some time with the Queen atop one of her many thrones that are scattered throughout the African bush. See the grey cloud above. Definitely book weather, and Karula is having a nice little Saturday afternoon nap. Nyala, what are you doing, Nyala? Well, then, I think she might be waiting for one of these Nyala to inadvertently move closer to her. But while we sit and play the patience game, let's go across to Commander Bond and his aquatic creatures.
Now, I have managed, everybody, excuse my not looking at you, to kind of trap this little tadpole in a small drop of water. I will release it shortly, but just look at that. Isn't that cool? You can see its eyes, you can see its gills working frantically. On the left-hand side of the screen, that's them moving there. Now you can see also his tail, you can see a little bit of his forming backbone. And many of you will know that I've been trying to soldier through a book on quantum biology, so the role that the quantum or physical world has on biological systems. And one of the major things that we know about is that the fact that the collagen process, the process by which this thing becomes a frog, requires the digestion and movement of collagen inside the body. That's just as we flipped it over there, you could see his intestines. And I will release him. I know he's not having a great time, but I will release him shortly. We just had to try and see how we could make him visible. But that collagenase process, the process by which the collagen is broken down and then reformed into the eventual frog, is a quantum process that would not happen without quantum physics, which may or may not interest you. It certainly fascinates me. Right, I think we're going to put this poor little fellow back into his pond, or his temporary pond. Thank you very much. He's now going around in his pond. He's very happy to be released. Good. That's excellent stuff. Okay, so we've had living things. What we're trying to do here is find as many living things as we can to put under the microscope. We had the click beetle that was living and clicking under the microscope. That was marvelous. We've had the tadpole now. Now I've got a worm in here that I wanted to show you. Because if you ever want to find invertebrate life, a bird's nest is the place to find it. And before I do that, I must just say that Byron has just had my second, I would say pretty much my favourite experience on foot, and that is with a leopard on foot. How wonderful was that? And the best part of it, the best part of that, was that she looked up and saw them, wasn't disturbed by them, and then she settled again and just carried on watching them as Byron spoke. Wasn't that special? That's truly the best way to have a touch of the wild. The only other way that comes close is with wild dogs. Right, let's go back now. Oh, I wanted to tell you something else astounding. Hang on, I can't do it now. I'm just going to quickly change something on the microscope. While I do that, I must tell you that what I'm going to show you under the microscope, and we have seen it already, of course, is the click beetle, not the click beetle, sorry, the jewel beetle. And the jewel beetle, there we are. Now, the jewel beetle is not long-lived. It lives probably a few weeks at most. But you will not believe what I'm going to tell you next. You're all familiar, of course, with the cicada beetle, especially the ones of North America, which can take up to 17 years to come out of the ground. There are its eyes. The jewel beetle is larvae, which is laid inside the bark of a tree. And I think you should come back to me so that I can give you the import of what I'm going to say to you. Can take up to 35 years before it becomes an adult jewel beetle. 35 years. That is longer than Craig's been alive. It's not longer than I've been alive, unfortunately, but it's longer than most of the crew have been alive. This jewel beetle could be older than just about the entire Wild Earth crew. Isn't that astounding? 35 years for it to become this gloriously coloured, beautiful beetle. Good. So that's that one. I had to finish off my jewel beetle story. And now, all you do when you want to find something here is just plunge it into the middle and focus. And normally, oh no, hang on. Let's just scan around here a bit. And we will normally find some kind of worm or mite or tick or beetle larva. Just not this time. There, no, yes, no, that's a grass seed. Anyway, you can have a look at the grass seed. Different species of grasses. We've got some Eragrostis in there. And now if you just hold still for a little while, often something will come crawling into view. Isn't that cool? Right, I'm going to move it. And what we're doing is scanning for little larvae. I had an amazing larva of some sort of beetle here earlier on. There, fly. Did you see the fly? I don't know what kind of fly that was. Let's see what else. Oh, there he is again. I cannot see that with my naked eye. It's not because I'm blind. Grass seeds moving like flies. How cool is this? I could sit and do this for hours, but I'm not going to force you to do this for hours, I promise. Oops. Let's just look a little bit deeper in there. And I must also tell you that the stingless bees are back, so we'll have a look at them at some stage during the course of this drive. I keep thinking that that purple thing there is a fly, but it isn't. It's a grass flower. Oh, there goes the fly. There he is. Yes, very difficult to try and follow what's going on there. Anyway, I'll try and find you the beetle larva that I had in here. Now remember, hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. That is the best way. You can send us emails for the duration of the internet show. As of tomorrow, I will cease talking about the email because otherwise I will forget. Let's head back across to Brent and the Great Queen and find out how he's enjoying his afternoon with her.
Well, it's very relaxing just lounging next to the leopard who's lounging herself. Those Inyala have moved away, unfortunately, so she's gone back to the snooze. I'm going to try and move forward a tiny bit, see if we can see some of her face. There we go. Now, leopards are reasonably big cats, not the biggest, of course, and Joro was wondering what is the biggest animal a leopard will hunt. And, well, it depends on the individual. A female like her, probably a kudu, a sub-adult kudu is about the biggest thing. The biggest problem with attempting something of that size is she's unable to put it in a tree, and therefore it can easily be stolen by hyenas or lions. So normally they prefer medium to small antelope, and of course when they are hunting and looking for medium to small sized antelope to eat, they probably make 2 or 3 kills a week. And Carl was wondering how often do they have to eat. Well, see, Carl, with most of the big cats it depends. They don't need to eat every day, but on average over a month they probably, or if you take it over per day ratios, they probably eat about 8 pounds of meat per day, spread out, of course, but normally 2 to 3 days between kills, but they can go as long as 6 or 7 days without any food. Now, leopards are the ultimate at adaptation when it comes to the cats, and James is wondering what is the strangest thing I've seen a leopard eat. I think possibly a dung beetle larvae would be one of the strangest things I've ever seen a leopard eat. A tortoise, what else? Lots of tiny birds, flying ants. They are able to eat lots of different things, and that's what makes them such a successful predator. Catfish is another one I've seen them eat, which is quite a strange one, in drying pools of mud. Brian, what's the strangest thing you've seen a leopard eat?
Nothing really that strange, to be honest.
Now, as I said, leopard are the second biggest cat we get out in the African bush, and Sabrina was wondering who would win in a fight, a leopard or a lion. Hands down, it would be a lion. Not even a massive male leopard has a chance, really, if he had to tangle even with a relatively small lioness. And a big male leopard will weigh around 200 pounds, and a small lioness will weigh around just under 300 pounds, possibly 250, 260 pounds. Oh, what was that? Something got into her ear. Bok and Tom would like to know how much does Karula weigh. So she's a female, but she's quite a small female. I would say she's around 30 to 35 to 40 kilograms, so around 90 pounds, maybe a little bit less than 90 pounds. Between 90 and 100 pounds, I think, is a safe estimate for a leopard of her size. Not the biggest, but not the smallest either. Now the amazing thing with leopard size, a lot of it just completely depends on diet and where they are. So for example, there are leopards that live in the mountains in the Western Cape in South Africa, and a big male will be smaller than Karula, or most males are around the same weight as Karulas, and a female will be as light as sort of 30 pounds, 35 pounds in that area, but they feed a lot of grasshoppers and tortoises and birds and eggs and things like that. They don't have access to lots of meat like our leopards do here, with all the duiker and stenbok and impala, warthog. So they've got a much better chance getting bigger in the low veld and in the bushveld regions than they do in the mountains, just purely because there's more food in these areas. Now she is fast asleep at the moment, and often you've got to play the patience game with leopards, so you just got to wait. I'm hoping that she'll get up before the end of the safari and start moving, maybe hunting, and it all could just change in a second, because if the rain came in a little bit, or the wind picked up and the conditions became slightly more favorable, it might prompt her into setting off a bit earlier. But for now, as I said, we're going to play the patience game and sit next to the wonderful queen of Djuma. So now we continue to play the patience game next to our gorgeous grand dam of Djuma. Let's go to Byron, who's playing in the sand.
Now, we've been walking around while Brent has been enjoying that leopard sighting, and I'm still in awe at viewing Karula on foot like that. That was really a great experience. Now, I've seen these beautiful tracks in the sand or on the road, but these are not fresh. I just thought it would be nice to show you some tracks, and it's interesting, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. Because we've been having a bit of a debate on whether or not these are male or female tracks. Now, I do think there's at least one male here. Now, we're trying to debate whether or not the other one is a female. Now, if I show you, this is clearly a male track, a male lion, which has walked along here. Now, these tracks are old. They would have been after the last hard rains we had, because they really stood in the mud. You can see these tracks are deep set in the soil, and they're very, very hard already. Now you can see that beautiful big pad and those big round toes. I mean, look how big that track is. It's about the size of my hand almost. If I put my hand over there, very large track. Definitely a male. But having a look just a little bit further down, over here, there's another little track, and it looks a bit smaller. It's difficult to say. I think, just judging by these two tracks, I think it's the two males, to be honest. And I say that because sometimes in mud, if they do stand in mud, it can spread the track a little bit more, make it look a lot bigger. But also, if the soil was fairly hard, which this substrate is, they may have sank in a little bit, but not quite enough to actually see the full track. So this track may look a bit smaller, but it was probably because the mud wasn't that soft, and it made a very clear impression on the ground. But I don't think that it was a female. I think these are two males that walked through here, because judging from them walking on or in the middle of the road, every now and then the track on the right hand side does get a lot bigger, and the track on the left hand side also changes slightly. So I think they walked just slightly next to one another, or one behind the other, and I think that's what's happened over here. But it's nice to have a look at tracks like this, even if they're old. Try and think about why they would have been walking here. Would it have been a male and female? Now, we did have we had a pair of lions the other day, male and female, so I'm not sure. But I think these are probably two males that walked through this area, possibly two of the Birmingham males. I'm just having a close look again. Now, every now and then there's a very, very big track, and then you see a smaller track. So it's difficult. It's difficult, especially in this substrate that is hardened after the rain. It's become much, much harder. Now, we are still in search of, well, I don't know really. We've seen so much already. So we're just having a leisurely walk around, seeing if we can find anything else very interesting to show you. We may return back to the DRC a little bit later to see to see if we can see those little bush babies again, perhaps. Now, Laurie, you wanted to know if I can tell you about my broomstick story. Now, I'm assuming that comes from James. So the broomstick story was when I was training. And James was my mentor, as you all know. And towards the end of our training, we had to walk the property that we guided on. And so in my day, we had to walk the entire property every day. It was about 7 to 10 days, depending on the way you walked and that. And every morning you would leave camp at 6 in the morning. And you'd go out, you walk by yourself. You just have your backpack with food and water, and you take a radio with you. We used to walk the roads, and every day you had a different route. And that was to learn the property, to learn the roads, learn the area, as well as encounter a lot of animals and how to deal with situations on foot by yourself. I think the reason, I thought it was an incredible learning experience. And I suppose if you don't make it back, they know you weren't good enough to be a guide. So I used to walk. I had this broomstick that had broken off, and quite a nice stick to walk with. I enjoy walking with the stick. And I'd walk down the road, and fairly thick. It was in the middle of summer. It was this time of year. Or a little bit later. It was about the end of February, and as I came around the corner, this big elephant bull was walking down the road towards me, and I didn't hear him. He wasn't feeding. He moved off. So I thought, okay, that's all right, and he moved off through the thicket, and I carried on going, watching him. As I looked up, another bull came around the corner, also not feeding, just walking down the road. Didn't hear him, didn't see him. Came around the corner. We both got a bit of a fright. I backed up a little bit, and this elephant came towards me and started walking a little bit quicker. And what I did, and usually if you are on foot, if you're faced with a situation like that, maybe a little tap or an unnatural sound, maybe a clap or a bit of a loud noise can sometimes stop an elephant, and they'll turn and move away. But again, you need to know their behavior to understand it. And this elephant came, and I basically waved my arms and waved this broomstick that was in my hand, and the elephant stopped, turned, and moved away. And I came back, and then I had to debrief on the walk, and I told them what I did. Needless to say, James and the other senior guides are not very happy with me. They said I challenged the elephant. So I don't know. I think maybe James might admit that it was the right thing to do, but that's the broomstick story. But we're going to head over to Jamie, who has got something interesting to show you.
I have to say, although our Wahlberg's eagle is most interesting, I think what would be even more interesting is for Byron to do a reenactment. Oh, there we go. A reenactment of his broomstick waving story. That was awesome. Well done, VM. I was going to show you it being mobbed by the fork-tailed drongo, which is a tiny little black bird that is always unbelievably brave. But as Byron sent you across to us, the drongo decided to fly away, and as you can see, our dark morph Wahlberg's eagle has decided to as well. Now, this particular eagle is part of a pair, and unlike our Wahlbergs that seem to actually have left the Wahlberg's nest that we've become so familiar with, I don't know if they've been seen in a few days. I don't know where they've moved their nest to, but this Wahlbergs come in different color variations. So you get the light morph, you get the normal colored Wahlberg's eagles, and then you get the dark morph Wahlberg's eagles. And this particular one has it's being bobbed again. Wait for me. This particular one has a pale morph mate, which I would love to see the outcome of the chicks. It's on the ground. I'm going to go this way. Just so that, I knew it was looking at, no, don't go, it's okay. Aw. Wonder what it was after down there. I thought it might have been looking at something on the ground. Is it still around? Let's go see. Could be termites. after a little bit of drizzle, the termites might have started popping out. Let's go and see what you are after. Anything there? No. Maybe termites in the dung, perhaps. It was definitely closely examining something. Oh, drat. Well done, VM. There we go. Let's just sit for a moment and see whether or not it decides to come back down to the ground. Gives us a really nice opportunity to view those fiercely powerful talons of the warburg, of all eagle species. What were you after? A good toilet spot, apparently. I don't know where the pale morph is, but as I said, it would be really interesting to see what the outcome is with their chicks. There it goes onto the ground again. I can hear now the testiculars are alarm calling. They're furious, which is completely understandable. A testicular is a tiny little bird with a very, very loud voice. And when it sees things like leopards or eagles, it makes a fuss about it. What is it? It's gone down onto... There we go. Let's try and find a gap with our roof. It's a bit tricky. Can you see it there, Viam? Forward. Oh, whoops, too much, sorry. There we go. Has to be termites, surely. You can hear the testicular frantically alarm calling in the background. Furious at the presence of a large predatory bird. Interesting. Must be termites. And the termite population explosions that we experience during our wet season, a very, very important part of the diet of a lot of different things, including many, many raptor species. And for those of them that have undergone the long migration, it is a seriously good food source because, of course, they've got to recover all of the energy. So like the warburgs that come all the way south from North Africa, a lot of our eagle species do return in the wet season. And so having this population explosion of termites, or emergence, as Brent calls it, the termite emergence, provides them with some really valuable food. That's got to be termites. The fact that it's still there, plucking away at the ground, I'm almost certain. Cool. Right. Well, while we leave our beautiful eagle and go and see whether or not any hyena den is active, let's head back across to James and see what he has to show you.
Here we have a caterpillar of the African migrant, and it's on a piece of grass, which it shouldn't be. It should be on this stick here, which is Senna petitiana, and I'm hoping to get it to eat this so that we can put it under the microscope. Now, just before we go to the next very exciting installment, that's cool, isn't it? Very exciting installment of what we have in store for you this afternoon. I must just complete the story of the broomstick, of course. Now, the reason that Byron got gears from me and many others, in fact, I remember the words I used. I said, "You took on the world's largest land mammal with a broomstick. Is that what you're telling me?" To which, of course, Byron replied, "Yes, that's what I did." And, well, it was my humble opinion, and, well, it wasn't delivered in a humble fashion at all, of course, that he should have disappeared off the road, away from the elephant, as soon as it had seen him. We will disagree with each other until our dying days, but I always love the story of the broomstick because he had to do a whole lot more walks as a result of his actions with the elephant. Right. Let us take to the air, but not above Juma. Not this time. We are going above Chitwa Chitwa. There it is. That is Chitwa Dam with Drone Commander Connor Teagues, and we're looking at the hippopotami. And he is slowly panning to some more hippopotami. And I can't see which side of the dam he is. Oh, he's at the northern side. That's the entrance of the Molwanini drainage there. That's interesting. Coming into the top of the dam, So he's looking due east at the moment and now moving north. There's a big red-billed buffalo weaver's nest on which the geese nest. There are the pratincoles, I think, flying towards the lodge there. I think those could easily be the pratincoles that have taken offence at Brother Connor's drone. That is Chitwa Lodge itself. Beautiful lodge, I must confess. I think it would be very pleasant spending a few nights there. There you can see all the hippos. And I think what you'll find is that there's a main pod of hippos, of females and youngsters and a big bull. And then those others dotted around are probably young bulls who are not really welcome in the main pod anymore, but they're not too much of a threat. And there is Connor himself on the dam wall. And Connor hates to be in shot, so he'll be very upset that he's got himself in shot. Now, I would be most impressed if Connor Teagues could take us towards the greenish section there. That's it. If you could get up above the greenish section there, Connor, that would be wonderful. And then zoom in and see if we can't find the crocodile. See how he is responding almost immediately. There be the beastly thing in front of the green. Well done, Connor. Look at the beastly crocodilian there, lurking, waiting for some hapless poor creature to come down and have a drink, from whence it will be grabbed from this life and sent to the next by the jaws of one of the most ancient animals on all the earth. Ugh. That's a lovely colour, that sort of algae there. But that is the crocodile. Well done, Connor. There's another one if you want to try and find it, somewhere knocking about there. And then if you wouldn't mind, I know this is going to freak you out, but if you wouldn't mind going... Oh, they're the geese. They're the geese. That's very cool. They're moving around. I don't know why the crocodile hasn't eaten all of those geese, because they're always hanging around where it's really very obvious. Now, Connor, what I would very much like you to do... we've obviously got the hippo, but I would quite like you to get to sort of your eye level and hover that drone in front of the vehicle, because it will give a lovely perspective of how high the dam wall is and how close we can get. So we'll just have a look at the hippo first. There they all are. And I think this is going to take a little while. Now, we've spoken quite a lot about habituation, and these hippos are going to take a little while to get used to it. There we go. That's what I wanted. Isn't that nice? That's so cool. See the hippo going under the water there? And that's because the drone is making a noise, obviously. It's going vrrrr. And what we want is, over the course of time, for the hippo to get completely used to it, exactly as they have got completely used to the vehicles. There we go. They're already getting used to it. Oh, that's fantastic. Look at them. Those are the youngsters. Sort of away from the main pod, I imagine. Still a little bit nervous, but that's okay. They're not being chased from the water, so they won't be nervous for long. And with any luck, they will become habituated very soon. How cool is that? So this is our first visit to Chitwa in the drone, everyone. And we'll do a lot more experimenting from here. Now, the other thing I'd like Connor to do, I want to see how much his range is from there. He's got a range of about 400 meters or so, which is about a quarter of a mile. Now, if you go due south from there, Connor, maybe up a bit and due south over the top of the lodge, there's some beautiful clearings, and I don't know if you're able to do that from where you are now. If not, just tell Kirsten that I'm being ridiculous and too demanding, and we can do it later. Yeah, now if you go straight over the top of the lodge there, yeah, turn a little bit more to that's it. Now you want to go straight over that way. Gorgeous. There's the airstrip, you can see. A little bit further to the right if you can. And yesterday, Taylor had the most beautiful sighting of elephants in the sunset on those clearings now that you can see just the other side of that mast. And to me, this is the Chitwa highlight, these clearings here. Lots of animals love to be in them. They're easy to see in. They look so very natural. And I think that's the Chitwa highlight for me. And down to the south there, you can see into Mala Mala. And as Connor turns to the east, that's facing Cheetah Plains. And now coming back towards Chitwa Lodge. This is just beautiful. Isn't that amazing? There's the back of house at Chitwa. The enormous mast that they have there at the waterhole. Oh, that's great. And I think the most beautiful lodge in the northern Sabi Sand. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that or not, but I did. I said it anyway. And there are the hippos, very contented now. Little rafts of them, you know, chaps chewing the breeze, as it were. No, you don't choose the breeze, you shoot the breeze, chew the cud, having a chin wag. And then I think off towards the mouth there of the Molwanini drainage, you'll find the main pod. And the beastly crocodile. In fact, you can just see him there. He's just behind them. Remember, any questions, you're welcome to send through, even while the drone is live. There's some oxpeckers leaping off the hippos. # Safari Live, questions at wildearth.tv. Be lovely to hear from you. And hear your impressions here of the Chitwa Dam from the air. Now, the reason, of course, all that greenery is there on the northwestern side of the dam is because the prevailing wind here, of course, is southeast, which means it's all being blown along the top of the surface. Oh, look at that enormous territorial yawn. And look how shallow the water is. I thought it was much deeper than that. So he's basically just stood up. There's a whale in the bottom right there, blowing out. Obviously not a whale. And so they're lying in some pretty shallow water. I thought that was much deeper. That can't be there for more than 3.5 feet deep at an outside maximum. Wow. Okay, so all the green is in the northwest corner because of the prevailing wind being a southeaster. Beautiful. And then, Connor, I wonder if we couldn't just look into the top of the red-billed buffalo weaver's nest that's just gone out of picture on the left-hand side. If you wouldn't mind trying to get to the top of that one. So if you go left, from there, it's amazing. He's a chap respond. No, that's right, Connor. Left, sir. Left. No, not that one. Not that one, the other one, in the middle of the water, because in it is an Egyptian goose nest. There we go. Yes, that one. That one right there. You can get right above it and look straight down on top of it. That would be marvelous. There we go. There you can see, well, the red-billed buffalo weavers are the most sort of enthusiastic builders there. But then also you've got some village weaver nests and, with any luck, the eggs of an Egyptian goose nest. How cool is that? You may have just heard from behind me, Taylor's watching this. She said, no ways. And exactly, no ways. How cool is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if you can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 or so eggies. Hold still, Connor. I'm getting nauseous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 maybe eggies. 2 dozen eggies. Well, if we run out of eggs in camp, we now know where we're going to come and get some more. How fantastic is that? That might be shot of the day. We've had Boomslang, we have had wild... No, we haven't. I've just been given some astounding news. Okay, I don't know who we're going to. Anyway, we have had some snakes, we've had bush babies, and we've always... we've got wild dogs apparently at the tent or the power lines. Who has seen the wild dogs, Kirsten? Kirsten, who has seen the wild dogs? There's a Nyala. I can hear Brent racing there. There's a Nyala looking at us. There's Brent going past. You might just be able to see him. Good grief, if we could have wild dogs at the tent, that would be too wonderful. Sorry, I got overexcited there, everyone. So overexcited, I'm still with my friend Caterpillar here. All right, let's head straight across to Brent to find out what's happening. We'll stay here and watch out what's going on.
We just got a report of wild dogs running across quarantine. We're sitting with Karula. We've left her, and we're trying to catch up with where the dogs are. Oh, it's so exciting to come back to wild dogs. I see the car. Now, where are the dogs? Now, of course, with wild dogs, if any of you have not been on a vehicle with wild dogs, they're my favorite animal. They make me very excited. They also move very fast. We'll try our best, but also with the roof on, it could prove a little... There they are! A bit difficult. Hello, puppies! Look at that. Now, I'm trying to see which pack it is. Looks to be only 3 dogs, so it could be one of 2 packs. But we need to see if there's a male dog with the 3 very distinct white spots on his side. And that would mean it's the Lower Sabi breakaway pack from the Lower Sabi. 1 second, I've just got to... If they're heading towards Gallagher Mighty on that small Ntlela now. Copy. There we go. They're mobile towards Gallagher Mighty. Oh, so exciting! There's 2 stations here. I'm not sure if there was a 3rd making the way. Look at that. I love the white tips to their tail. They look like they've actually had a meal today already. But they are insatiable. Well, they have insatiable appetites at least. Now, there's a good chance they might find Inyala, Impala, Duiker, Steenbok all in this area. Unfortunately, yes, if they do go off the road, it is near impossible to follow them through this area without a roof on. And we do have a roof on because it has been raining constantly throughout the day. Fingers crossed they stay on the road. Now, the most incredible thing is there are only about 3,500 to 4,000 wild dogs left in the wild in the whole of Africa. They are the most endangered carnivore in southern Africa, or large carnivore in southern Africa, and they're the 2nd most endangered canid in the world. There's only one other member of the dog family who's more endangered than the African wild dog, and that is the Ethiopian wolf. No, don't go that way. That is a bad way to go, wild dogs. Thank you very much, Susie. Susie says, just Brent's luck to have wild dogs on his first day back. I'm trying to plan what to do next. I'm going to try and go around because I think we're not going to get in there with the roof. Oh. Whoopsie daisies. There's a little and a big animal path that goes up on the other side opposite the Gallagher waterhole, and I think that's going to be our best bet. Oh, what a busy Saturday afternoon. Lions, leopard, wild dog. Who knows what's going to be next? Oh, looks... Oh, we caught up with them again. Oh dear. They've just ducked down here. There we go, you can just see them going through the bush there. I say it's near impossible to keep up with them through this stuff. Trying to think. Okay, yeah, that's going to be the plan, and hopefully it looks like they might go down towards the whit Dam eventually if they keep in that. Brian, can we see behind me? Are we good? Oh, there's a tree. Stop. I stopped. Now, these little drainage systems or little dry riverbeds, like the dogs have just moved into here, are areas that they really like to hunt, and two of their favorite foods, and bushbuck and nyala, will often be around these areas, and they literally course up and down. Oh, I've lost. Oh, my ears aren't working. We're heading for this open area in front of us. Let's just have a quick look. If we can see them from here, they should be about to appear in front of us unless they've changed their mind. It looks like they've changed their mind. Oh dear, well, we try find them again. Let's go see what Jamie is up to.
Well, that is something that's certainly going to have made Brent's day. Return to work and a wild dog sighting straight off the bat. Very, very exciting. As you can see, we all get very worked up, very excited when we see wild dogs. I'm curious to know which particular dogs they are, because it seems as though, if I look back on it, last year we saw the Investic pack and the Sands pack regularly with their pups, and I don't think we've seen a wild dog pup this year. Have we? No, I don't think we have on our live safaris. So I raced all the way there to go and help Brent out, because of course we've both got the roofs on, which makes going through the bush a little bit more tricky. But because there are so many vehicles that are interested in having a chance to see the wild dogs, I've decided Vim and myself will go for a nice easy afternoon bumble instead. Rather than racing through the bush and dodging branches, we're just enjoying the beautiful green scenery and the cool evening air. I did promise that we'd go back to those lions, and we will go back to those lions. There is a very good chance, because it's nice and cool this evening, and because it's been raining, there's a very, very good chance that they're going to start roaring. So stick around to see whether or not they do that. I'm not going to go back to them just yet. I'm going to do a quick surveillance of Arathusa and see what's happening around Red Dam. And then we'll come back and we'll have a look and see what those lions have been up to. Sorry, I'm also listening with half an ear to what's happening with the wild dog sighting and where they're going and what they're up to. But it is interesting, because of course now I've been here for over a year, nearly 2, and it's been interesting to watch the shifts in dynamics from one year to the next. And of course the biggest difference now is the proper rainfall. That's made an enormous difference as to what we're seeing. But the change in the pack dynamics, for example, the Investic pack and the Sands pack not being anywhere around, the addition of lion cubs, it's a very, very different start to 2017. Now, Suzanne, while we bumble along looking for something to show you, you want to know why it is that wild dogs are endangered. The answer, it's a complicated answer, and not everything is known about why it is that wild dog populations don't manage to succeed. And I think there's a really horrifying statistic that most wild dogs don't make it past their 5th year. So they are not fragile things, but they have been through some decimating population problems. So the biggest one, of course, is habitat loss. So for the longest time they've been seen as vermin, and as farms took over, they were seen as a threat to livestock and shot on sight. They need a huge amount of space, and what happens is the reserves get smaller and smaller and smaller and fenced in, which means you've got a higher concentration of lions in certain areas, not so much here, which is why the Kruger has one of the largest populations, the largest population in South Africa. But you get a high concentration in lions, you immediately get a low population of wild dogs. And then diseases, they're also incredibly susceptible to canine distemper, and of course because they are so closely related to dogs, it's very easily transmitted to them. So you've got reserves in close proximity to human settlements, and you get the spread of disease, which is why they've all been there's a big call for inoculating all of the wild dog packs throughout South Africa and throughout Africa against such a disease. I know that a pack was wiped out by rabies recently. So it is a very difficult life for a wild dog at the moment. Luckily, I hope we seem to be winning that battle. Wild dog populations seem to be improving ever so slightly. Right, we've seen things from the air. Now let's go and have a look at things from Ronald's perspective.
We are going to have a look at Ronald's view, but just to keep you posted, it looks to me from the GPS, which has now died, that the wild dogs could be coming down towards Vuyatela Dam, where we have our good friend Ronald. And Ronald has achieved a wonderful sunset shot there. He's very pleased to be back out and meeting you, and we'll just give him a little turn and you can see what's going on. Come on, Ronald. There we are. Well done. We'll just go all the way around. And then what we're going to do is mount that little knoll over there. The picture is slightly frozen, which makes me a bit nervous, because of course it does mean that I could drive Ronald clean over the edge of that little knoll by mistake. And then if the wild dogs come down towards the dam, Ronald will see them and he will alert us immediately. Won't you, Ronald? Yes, good. There we are. So we're going to position Ronald there, just for in case the wild dogs come down. And we don't have the dam cam, do we? No, we don't. Okay, we'll go back to the dam cam in the next few days. Brent has got the dogs. I don't know where they're going. Let's go and find out.
Oh, that's weird. There we go, we caught up with them. They are very close to our boundary. Look at that, isn't that absolutely splendid? We did manage to catch up with them. They are heading towards the north, so there's a chance they're going to cross over our northern boundary, but it's still great even to spend a few moments with my favorite animal, Lichen pictus, the painted wolf. We just now need to try maneuver back towards the road and try and get one last glimpse of them before they cross our boundary. Okay, they should be out in the open here. So, from what I can see, it looks like the lower Sabi pack. Well, there they are. Oh, they're moving fast. No, don't go to the boundary. So it looks like I saw the male with the 3 white spots on his side, which lets me know that it is the lower Sabi pack, or the remnants of. There used to be a much bigger pack, but a lot of them died of canine distemper last year. Yes. I'm sure I'm now heading east along Buffelshoek Cutline. Affirm F, make your way, there's only 2 stations. Look at that. I just love that profile and those radar ears. Let's get a bit closer. Turn south. Everyone say in your head, turn south, wild dogs. Let's go catch an impala at the Jumapan. I think that's a splendid idea. Fana is wondering, are these wild dogs like the ones you get in Australia? They're not. Those are called dingoes. This is actually called an African wild dog. And they're quite far separated from the rest of the dog family. They split around 1.6, 1.7 million years ago, and their dental structure is actually different. It's made for tearing and ripping up of meat, and of course that is what they eat. And they've also got an extra toe. Now this is really exciting. Ooh, looks like might have spotted something. Look at that body language change. The female. Did she hear something or did she see something? Now there's a good chance there could be some impala up in this area. And of course wild dogs, look, oh, really love baby impala. The most I've seen them kill in a single sighting was 9. And if Connor is close by, it definitely might be worthwhile getting Connor into the area. Hopefully he's back from Chitwa, because that would be incredible, because we might lose them, especially with our roof on, as they are jogging down. I think she's seen something. I just watch her ears every now and then. No, maybe not. Now, whatever they see, it needs to be to the right, or at least run to the right. See, I don't know. I think she might have heard something. Isn't this just spectacular? Now there's a good chance. No, don't go that way. Yeah. Darn it! Dag nabbit. I was really hoping they were going to go that way, or chase something that way at least. I think we might get, one last glimpse as they run off to the north. Bye. Sure, they crossed quickly as well. There they are, Brian. There we go. Brian's got them. Off. Bye, guys. Well, a nice little visit from my favorite creature. I think we'll make our way back towards Queen Karula. And, well, always nice to spend some time with the wild dogs. Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks very much. That was very nice to see the dogs. Yeah. Yeah, so we're actually live. We're broadcasting live at the moment. So there's a couple of thousand people all around the world watching. Yes, we got the wild dogs on the camera. Yeah, cool. Cheers, cheers. Sorry about that. Every now and then we do get some new people in the area, and they're fascinated about the camera. Not Brian, just the camera, unfortunately. Oh, sorry, Brian. Okay, well, we're going to sort of make our way back towards where the Queen was last. Hopefully she hasn't moved a muscle and she's waiting for us to get back. While we do that, let's go and see what Jamie's been up to.
And while Brent's been racing forward after the wild dogs, I've been racing backwards away from a large elephant bull who's now sneaking through the bush towards me. I see you. You funny thing. What is wrong? There's a big elephant bull. He is in must. He's giving that must swagger. And it's amazing how something that large can melt into the bush. I reversed down the road because I saw him quite far away and he saw me quite far away. And he just gave that impression of this was, obviously it's his right of way, but it was quite a narrow road, which meant that I had to, there he is, which meant that I didn't have much space and he wouldn't have had much space to pass me. So I moved off and I've reversed all the way back along the road until the next junction. Let's just see what he does. We've given him plenty of room now, so he should be fine. But let's just have a look. And of course, I think I recognize him. He's got a big slit in his ear. Hello, big boy. There he comes. You definitely are in must, aren't you? You're giving that impression. A massive elephant bull, one of the big bulls. You can see those thick, thick tusks. And this gentleman is easily over 30 years old. And it's always such a joy and a privilege to be in the presence of these giants. He's going to want to come down here. I just have a feeling he's going to decide he wants to be here, only because I'm here. Hey, boy, what do you think? Here he comes. Marching on his way. There we go. Not too bothered now that we've moved away. Now, elephants actually... Oh, trunk full of sand. Elephants are actually relatively easy to read, and they're usually, even for somebody inexperienced with elephants, it's usually very clear when they don't want you around. Not necessarily around, but when they'd prefer you to be further away, for example, or if they'd prefer you to not be in their way at all. And it's a very almost palpable feeling that they give. I know where he's going to go. Let's just see if we can go along parallel to him without bothering him too much. Do you mind, mister? He's a lovely big old bull. Which way are you going to go? Here he goes. See how stealthy they are. How incredibly quiet. Moving through the vegetation, you wouldn't think that something that large, 5 tons, could be so incredibly quiet. And that, of course, has to do with the cushions at the bottom of their feet. Here he goes. So if you happen to find yourself on a self-drive safari, perhaps, or trying to read elephant body language, there's a couple of things that are very easy to identify when an elephant bull is in must. Now, must is when it's basically when an elephant's testosterone levels shoot up to much, much larger than their normal levels, which, of course, comes with certain problematic moments in that they are obviously very interested in the company of the ladies, and at the same time they also want to prove that they are the biggest and scariest thing out there. Now, he's actually not in full must. He's definitely not. He's not dribbling urine, which when an elephant is in the height of his must, they will do. They'll dribble quite a lot of urine, actually. You'll see the back of the inside of their back legs will be coated in it, and it gives off a very particular scent. But if you're not close enough to see those things, perhaps you see an elephant walking down the road, they have what's known as a must swagger. Now, a must swagger is basically where the ears are up higher than the shoulders. And it's just the slightest change in the way that they hold their head. And they'll often have it's a swagger. It is quite literally a swagger. And once you see it once, you'll know exactly what I mean. Many of you will know what I mean from watching these live safaris. Hey, mister. You are beautiful. There you go. He's perfectly content with us now. Not bothered at all. I think it was just because he was aware that the road was quite narrow. And in fact, I don't think he is actually in must at all. Now that I look at him properly, I think he was just trying to get us out of his way, or letting us know to get out of his way plenty ahead of time. I've heard some stories, and I've seen some pictures, and I've seen, of course, the desecration around the Djuma sign, or the DRC sign, that was knocked over by Angry Ellie, who has apparently been hanging out around Djuma. I'm not sure. I haven't actually properly been introduced to Angry Ellie, something that I'm quite happy about, quite glad about. But apparently there has been an elephant hanging around Djuma that's a little bit bad-tempered and a little bit cantankerous. He was in must, as far as I know, and I've heard he chased a few vehicles around and then decided to take out his frustrations on the sign outside our camp, which is all part and parcel of living out here in the home of these amazing animals. I'm not sure. I've never had a proper encounter with Angry Ellie, so I'm not sure if it is him or not. Maybe I don't know if anyone in final control would be able to recognize him. He's got a very big slit out of his left ear. His right ear's got one as well, but it's much more noticeable in his left. He's got quite large tusks as well, quite thick tusks. He's a big boy, quite an old boy. So I'm not sure. It could well be Angry Ellie. I haven't encountered Angry Ellie before. And perhaps needs a slightly better name. Angry Ellie does not inspire confidence. Ouch. Biting fly. Right, from Angry Jamie being attacked by flies and an Angry Ellie moving off, let's go to a very not angry Byron, see what he's up to.
I'm not angry at all, Jamie. I'm scared. You've got angry elephant. Brent's got wild dogs running around. There's leopards. This has been a hectic afternoon. I don't know how I feel about being out here on foot. So I'm hiding at the moment. But what I have found while I've been hiding is a beautiful little flower. Have a look at this. Look at that lovely purple flower. Now, I do know what this is. This is a poison apple. Now, it does get fruit. I don't see any on it at the moment, and it is apparently poisonous for us. I've never tried it, but that's a poison apple. Sorry, Jean, I was moving it around a bit there. So I think it's all the nerves with all these animals around. I was actually hoping, to be honest, Jean and I were both hoping that the wild dog came through the clearings now, because generally wild dog, and they do know their territories very well. They know where the clearings are, and they know that there's most likely going to be impala, especially with those young lambs at the moment, and even the wildebeest with their calves. Now, I've seen wild dog run and try and catch wildebeest, and the wildebeest actually form a ring around the calves to protect them. So it wouldn't be that easy for wild dog to catch wildebeest. But with the impala, it's perfect prey for wild dog. And I was wondering if they wouldn't turn from the Gallagher pan and come back to the clearings, possibly try and hunt around here, even though there aren't impala here at the moment. Perhaps they would have thought that there's food, but. So I was hoping to see them on foot, but unfortunately not this time. It would be incredible to see wild dogs running past us on foot. I'm going to leave the poison apple. Let's see what else we can find around here. I saw some of my favorite grass earlier, and hang on, here we go. There's some of it right here. Look at this. This is a beautiful... and there's a whole bunch of, that's actually much better, Jean, you're right. Now, this grass is known as Natal Red Top, Melanus repens. Now, this is why I say it's my favorite grass. It was one of the first grasses that I learnt about, and I just really love the fluorescence, the inflorescence, sorry. And
I'm just lying on the ground, everybody. Oh, because it's so nice here. Beautiful afternoon. But we found something that initially I assumed was what it's disguised to be. Now tell me if that to you doesn't look like the dropping of a bird. And it is not the dropping of a bird, it is a moth that is disguised as the dropping of a bird. Now, if your main predator is a bird, what better way to remain disguised from it than to look like its own droppings? Because that is definitely not going to inspire any bird to try and eat it. And it's sitting on the Waltheria plant and waiting patiently for the Waltheria plant to produce its little flower, and then it will suck some nectar from that. Isn't that cool? A little dung-shaped moth. I mean, I had to touch this thing because I was so convinced that it was, in fact, dung. But if I open it up there, now you can see it move. Oh, here it is. So cool. Can you see it there, Craig?
Just about.
Craig says he can just about see it. You got it now?
Yeah.
Now, every single time I do this at this time of the year, get down on the ground, I'm astounded by the amount that I've found. Now, we're going to look at this moth. I don't know what it is, and then I'm going to show you 3 or 4 other things that I've found here. Once Craig has zoomed out. There we are. Look down over here. We've got a leaf with a whole lot of caterpillar or moth eggs. Could easily be the eggs of the what we'll call the bird turd moth. So the bird turd moth could easily have laid those there. That's very cool. And then I'll pick this for you, Craig, so you don't need to come over this way. It's so delicate. Hang on. This could easily be the caterpillar of the bird turd moth. Shall I put him on there? Look at this chap. Could easily be the caterpillar of the bird turd moth. And all of them sitting around one tiny little plant. This one was sitting on some grass quite close to the Waltheria, but the Waltheria is surrounded by a number of different plants. And I just think that's rather gorgeous. And I bet if we stayed here for a bit longer, we'd probably find some grasshoppers, some ants, various fly species. Now, the other thing I found also was a little baby tiny grasshopper. Oh, and an insect I don't know how to identify. Sorry, Craig. This is it's flown away. You see it there? No, it's flown away again. Never mind. There was a little grasshopper in here. And this only happens in summer, of course. In the wintertime, you wouldn't find any of this. You'd just be lying in the dust, waffling on about nothing on earth. No, I cannot find the grasshopper anymore, but Brent Leo Smith has returned to Windsor Castle.
Look at this. Karula is still napping in the same spot. Isn't that wonderful? So she is oblivious of the bolting wild dogs that ran past mere meters from her while we were sitting here. And she's just changed position a little bit. A bit better for us to see her, but still no sign of her getting upwardly mobile at the moment. Probably just enjoying some quiet time away from the kids. Remember, if you have any questions about this incredible cat, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. And the cloud seems to be breaking up a little bit, and who knows, we might get a little bit of sunlight before the end of the safari. Now, Mary is wondering if Karula is the oldest female in the area. I wonder if the cubs are close by. Listen to those go-away birds going crazy. Mary, I'll get back to your question in a second. I'm just trying to have a look a bit beyond where she is. Go-away! Hosana and Shungi, they might be not too far from us. Interesting. Now, Mary was wondering, is Karula the oldest female in this area? And she's one of the oldest. I'm not sure. There could be some older leopards to the west of us, and to the east of us, and to the north of us. But as far as I know, I'm not sure how old Salah Hirsch is, but she might be of a similar age to Karula. Other than that, Tundi and Shadow are definitely younger than her, and as well as some of the new young females we've been seeing recently. Of course, Tundi and Shadow, for those who don't know, are her first litter of cubs. It's really upset go-away birds. And they're definitely not upset by Karula. Maybe we'll go have a poke down there just now, see if there's anything down there. Could be Hosana terrorizing the go-away birds. They could just be having a domestic argument. Just try to see. I'm just going to move the vehicle, see if we can see the go-away birds. And see, Karula has not moved an inch. Just trying to see where they are. Can you see the go-away birds, Brian? Karula doesn't seem too perturbed at whatever's perturbing them. Can't see them though. Let's just try a little bit further forward. No sign of the go-away birds now. They seem to have fluttered off. And poor Connor wasn't... wild dogs weren't playing along for Connor today and his drone. So let's see if he can come have a look at us with the Queen of Djuma. You might hear Connor coming in. It's amazing that this is a much bigger drone than we used to have, and it's much quieter than the little one. I have spotted the drone. You see it there, Brian? Oh. Drone Commander Connor Teague's coming in. And as you can see, Karula has not even reacted to the sound of the approaching drone. There we go. She might look up at it, but well, she might be getting used to. We've flown it over Karula a few times now. You can see, I said she might have a glance up towards the drone, but it's actually right above us and she hasn't even lifted her head. Okay, we're gonna go have a look. There we go, you can see what Connor was seeing, or what you're seeing from the air. You can see our vehicle, and there's a big termite mound just in front of us, and that's Karula. Obviously I'm not sure exactly what you're seeing, apart from maybe, no, I don't think you can even see me or Brian under our roof, even if I... Oh, so apparently you can make out Karula on the termite mound. And now we're going to do a little 360. And there we go, you might be able to see me now. Hi guys, we're waving, Brian and I are waving at you. Karula has still not moved an inch, her head is not raised. Oh, it's pretty lights on the bottom of the drone. There we go. This is incredible, we are able to do this. And live, it astounds me sometimes, the incredible things we are able to bring you live from the bush. And you've just flown, nearly flown a full 360 degrees around us. Here we go. And you're going to come and join me on the vehicle shortly. And you can see how much the Queen cares about the eye in the sky. And she did not open her eyes or even glance up at the drone. What's the drone's name, Brian? Duncan. Is it Duncan the drone?
Yeah,
Duncan the drone. Let's hope.
Mavis the Matrice.
Or Mavis the Matrice, because it is a Matrice. Oh, the old drone was Duncan. Maybe it's Mavis. Mavis. Now, this was built by Connor. Apparently this is Marvin, okay. Marvin the drone. And you can hear a bit of a buzz from it. As you can see, Karula not perturbed in the slightest. Well, as you can see, the drone's probably about 40 feet, 50 feet above us. And you can see Karula not even looking at it. And you can see her probably quite an interesting view from the top. She's probably really tucked in between the different sort of pinnacles of this termite mound. Absolutely gorgeous. You might be able to see Brian. It's on Brian's side if Brian decides to wave. Wave, Brian. I don't know. There it is. Hi, guys. Incredible. I feel like something's watching us, Brian. So apparently with our rain roofs on, we look like one of the vehicles from the Flintstones. That's probably an apt description. It's about as easy to drive through the bush after wild dogs in a Flintstone vehicle as it is with the roof on. And keep wondering, come on, Karula. It's time to go hunting. Or not. It's probably time to snooze. I think she's only going to get moving when it's a bit darker today. Hopefully before the end of the safari. Oh, there was one tiny little leg stretch. We'll continue to play the patience game with Queen Karula. While we do that, let's go see Jamie, who's found a tiny little feathered friend.
How cute is this tiny little feathered friend? It is absolutely adorable. It's a little baby magpie shrike, and I think quite possibly taking its very first few experimental flaps outside of its nest and constantly begging the adults for something to eat. It is so cute. There's one of the adults there with the long tails. They are such gorgeous shrikes. Both the males and the females have those long tails throughout the year, which is always, I find, quite an interesting approach. But you can see that this tiny baby is or has just started to fledge. It's still got baby feathers around the front of it, and the primary feathers around the wings are so tiny. Oh, and it's making such a noise. Begging constantly. Maybe a face that some of you with hungry toddlers might be familiar with, or have in the past had hungry toddlers. Food. I'm interested to see what's happening here, because magpie shrikes are cooperative breeders. In other words, the previous generation will stick around and help the adults, the parents, to feed the next set of chicks. And there were other adults around. I don't know where they've vanished to now, but I actually think that the rest of the babies are in a buffalo thorn that's behind me. I can hear some frantic chirping emanating from there as well. I can't see properly. Well done, VM. There we go, up a little bit. There we go. I think, yes, those short tails, I think that's where the rest of the chicks are. Now the question is, oh, cute. The two of them together. There's two little chicks there. I'm sorry, I know it's a really difficult view. Well done, VM, managing to spot them. Now that's a typical spot for a magpie shrike nest. They love to make their nests, their little cup-shaped nests, in thorn trees. It's a great protective strategy. Makes life much harder for potential predators. Now the question is that nest over there? And in that case, has our little noisy chick gone wandering a bit too far away? They're chirping together. I can't see any sign of a nest, but I think... is it going to get fed? Is it going to get its wish? Look at it! Oh, those poor parents. That must be constant all day. All day, every day. Oh, well done! Not the best flying attempt in the world. Well, you might even be seeing this baby bird's first flight. How cool is this? Oh. There we go. That was almost like the adult was was holding it to try and get it to come to it, like a baby taking its first steps. I don't know if that's the case, but it was almost like it was encouraging it to get to the next branch. Perhaps attempting to lead it back to the nest. Hey, well done! Okay, admittedly more jumping than actual flying, but not bad for one of its first attempts. How are you going to get back to your nest, little one? Oh, man, this whole balancing thing's a bit tricky. Oh, back down again. Look what I can do, Mum. Oh, it's a good point coming through from a heron. Thank you for that. Very, very good point. You want to know if the birds are not looking for trouble, or baby birds not looking for trouble by calling like that constantly. Absolutely, they could attract unwanted attention. Something might decide to follow that call, and perhaps that's why it's a good idea to try and learn these first few fluttering stages of flight by doing so in a thorn tree, which is exactly what this little one has done. It might act as a discouragement for something like a small cat, a wildcat, for example, or a serval. That might be potential predators for a tiny bird like this. I guess the benefits of attracting your parents' attention outweigh the dangers of squawking so loudly that you attract the attention of absolutely everything in the vicinity. Although I'm sure the parents would prefer if it kept a little bit quieter. But a good point, Heron. Yes, it is asking for trouble in a way, especially because this whole flight thing is not terribly well coordinated just yet. I would guess and say that these little guys have a very, very rapid fledgling time period. So probably from hatching, I would guess at 30 days to grow their feathers and be ready to fly. Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you with access to Google, but that would be my guess. They're sort of medium-sized shrikes. And generally, altricial birds, so birds that are born naked and helpless, hatch naked and helpless, let's be more specific, they tend... Oh! Lots of begging happening. They tend to fledge quite quickly, which makes sense because they are so vulnerable. I think that this little chap does have two siblings, as I mentioned earlier. David, you wanted to know if baby birds will play much in the way that, say, our Nkahuma cubs might play. I don't think so. I've never seen baby birds playing with each other. It doesn't seem to be. And of course, play is such an important part in the development of our cats. We've seen it with our cubs, we've seen it with Karula's cubs, building up their strength, their tactics, their techniques. It's all crucial for when they do reach adulthood, which is a good reason behind playing. But do baby birds play? Not that I know of. I don't know if any of you out there perhaps have had birds, have raised birds. Maybe you know if chicks will ever play with each other. I don't think so. I think they spend so much time in competition with each other, trying to have the loudest voice, the widest mouth, so that they get the best access to food. Look at it! Oh, such a clever little baby. Hop, hop, hop. It's tough when your wings are so tiny. Now what? It's getting dark, little one, and you should really be safe and tucked away now, not playing from branch to branch. You have, if this is a separate nest, you have strayed a little bit too far. So cute. What are you doing? Yes, that's the ground. You don't want to land on it. I love this time of year. You get to experience these completely unique moments. This is the first time I've ever seen a baby magpie shrike. And now? Now what are you going to do? Whoa, silence. The silence is positively deafening. Ah, there we go. I was going to say, it had to be a little squawk coming soon. All right, little one. Well, good luck in your endeavors. I hope you find your way back to your nest. I know. Marisha is thinking exactly the same thing I was, which is imagine how busy the poor parents are going to be over the next few days. Absolutely. Thank goodness they have helpers. They're gone now, but there were definitely 3 adults around that would be able to help. But still, I'm with you. I'm completely with you. And it's going to be a very busy time for our adult birds as they keep all of those hungry mouths fed. Right, as it gets dark, it's time for little baby birds to be in their nests. And of course, it's also time for bushwalk to start heading home. Let's head across to Byron.
Oh, Jamie, are you calling me a baby bird? Stop it. We've come back to the position where we started our bushwalk. We might have caught the bush babies coming out of that hole, but no sign of the snake or the bush babies. But what a wonderful start to the walk. It was an incredible scene, having birds alarm calling at the snake, seeing the reaction of the snake, trying to basically strike at the birds to get them away from him, or her rather. It was a female boomslang. And then also the bush babies jumping around, and I said I've never seen a bush baby during the day, so that really was a fascinating sighting and a great start to the walk. And then of course finding Karula on foot, that was just great. Such an adrenaline rush, and it was so wonderful to see her just lying on the termite mound. So we are going to finish our bushwalks. So from myself, Byron, and Jean on camera this afternoon, thank you very, very much for joining us. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Let's go back to Jane and see what he's up to.
I was just doing my own version of the ident song there. Did you think it was good? I thought it was wonderful. Now, we're going to show you something from inside the tent. I was fossicking about out here, and that is why I had to begin my link outside, you see. Now I'm coming back inside via the window, like a thief in the night. Oops, there's littering all over the place. And what we have over here is something quite special. This is a toxic plant. I don't know what toxic plant it is. We can't figure it out. But thereon is the larva of a monarch butterfly. And I want to show you the colors of this quite spectacular creature underneath the microscope. Well done, Craig. That was excellently done. We've got to encourage these young people, you know, otherwise they become very discouraged with life. Hang on. Right, there we go. Have a look at that. Now that's the back end of it, that's its tail. And we'll just go along it. And there is its mouth. Now, I've been trying to get these caterpillars to eat the whole day. I've been sat here trying with the African migrant, now of course with the African monarch, and I've failed dismally to make them eat anything, and I think it's because it's quite cold, and I think they're too cold to eat. The other day, Brian and I had a quite astonishing sighting of a caterpillar eating leaves, and it was devouring acacia leaves. And it was just beautiful to watch how the mouth moved. And I was hoping to try and repeat that tonight, but that doesn't seem to be possible, and I think it's because it's too cold. So I think when it heats up, they will start to eat. So I'm going to keep this monarch thing, and I'm going to bring a whole lot of, I'm going to bring it a whole lot of stuff to eat. Connor has got a few minutes left in the air. Let's go and take a look and see if we can see the sun. Ah! Beautiful impalas, much impalas and nyalas all over quarantine there. That's gorgeous. And they're all coming onto the clearings for the night. You can see a nyala top right there. There is the camp where we shall all go shortly. Oh, that's Via Telecamp. We won't be staying there, no. We'll be staying in the DRC. That's just in the sort of, well, that's basically that shiny bit you can see in the middle of your screen now, disappearing slowly to the right-hand side. And a wonderful herd of antelope there. Grazing, browsing and looking out for predators, and all very relieved that those wild dogs didn't come anywhere near here. They turned north. They could so easily have terrorized these impala and the nyala, and I mean, one wonders why they didn't. Why didn't they come down here? And I can only say that given what I've been reading lately about wild dogs and how much of their hunting seems to be almost entirely at random, and indeed what was perceived before as some kind of hunting strategy seems to be largely random. In other words, when we've talked about them in some kind of teamwork effort, with one going in front and the other heading it off and hanging back and then waiting, and then when the front runners tire, that one takes over, it seems to be largely nonsense, actually. And it's just random running at whatever they see. So if they'd turned right instead of left, once they got to the pan at Galago, they could easily have come across that herd of impala or the nyala, and, well, there could have been a kill on quarantine clearings. As it is, they've gone north into Buffelshoek, and we have a very peaceful herd of nyala and impala sitting on quarantine very shortly. Now, Kathy, you're wondering where we live. You say you've been watching Safari Live for a couple of weeks now and wondering, do we all live here? We do live here, and has Connor still got any? No, I think he's run out of battery. It would have been quite nice to show you where we live. In fact, come outside, Kathy. Just because we're about to go into TV and I'm feeling magnanimous, I'll have a show for you of where we are. What you see here is quite interesting. These are people who work with us there. Two of them at least seem to have finished work early, Geraldine Kent and the foster-care-in-chief, Taylor. But we live just beyond there, everyone, and that's where the final control is. And Kathy, the reason we live here, of course, is because, well, we're nowhere really near civilization. This is civilized-ish, I suppose. The closest town is a place called Hluvukani, which is a rural settlement not too far from here. The closest rural settlement is a place called Dixie. The closest, what you might define as a town, is Acornhoek, and that's about, it's a good hour's drive from here. And then where Brent and Jamie live in Hoedspruit is an hour and a half. So it would be totally impracticable for us to go in and out, especially given that we start our drives so very early in the morning. So we do live here, and in fact it's one of the real benefits for me of working for Safari Live and working in the bush. It means I get to live out in the wilderness. Let's head across to Jamie. I'm not entirely sure what she has, but I'm no doubt she'll tell you about it, and it will be interesting.
It is indeed lovely living out here in the wilderness, and of course this male lion absolutely agrees, as he has a jolly good scratch and sticking his tongue out to the satisfaction of having such a jolly good scratch. Hey, mister, it's very clearly Mfumo. You've got an itchy elbow there by any chance. Somebody's hungry, saggy belly. There you go, there's the tongue. All of our lions do that when they scratch. That is exact same thing, the tongue coming out. Oh boy, you've opened it up again. Properly opened it up, it looks like. Now this is Mfumo, one of the Birmingham boys. Earlier we mentioned the fact that it was definitely Tinyo with him. He seems to have opened up an old wound that's on the side of his face. We've watched him for months with that wound healing, and it seems as though he's done it damage once again. Obviously the infection, I guess, the infection hadn't fully cleared up, so it was bursting open. Shame, mister. That looks uncomfortable again. Absolutely astounding. That's a guarri bush. Don't lick the guarri bush. Amazing, the resilience of these creatures and their immune systems. Well, we've arrived with perfect timing, because it's just as our two boys are thinking about getting up. Nice big yawn, showing off those teeth, and there's been some serious licking and scratching, so I think our boys are planning it as time to go and head out. I wonder which way they're going to head. And go, making sure all the claws are clean. Tinyo's scratching now. There he goes, cleaning the claw sheaths. I'm just listening carefully while we're here. I've just heard some kudu alarm calling, and I don't think they're alarm calling at the lions. There's an antelope barking somewhere behind me, and I suspect I saw male leopard tracks coming onto the reserve. There's a good chance it could actually be Tingana wandering around, so we'll keep an eye out for him as well and keep listening to see whether there are any more alarm calls. I don't want to go rushing off and leave these lions, because they're most definitely going to be up and about soon. And I'm hoping that before the end of our sunset safari, they're going to give us a roar. And welcome to Laura, who's obviously been enjoying some of our better sightings. Laura, you wanted to know, and I must say I was very jealous of FW's sighting in this particular instance. He wanted to know whether or not this is the line that the chameleon was crawling on. I could be wrong, and please correct me if I am. I think that line was informal. So then, yes, and this is Tino at the moment. He's having a jolly good yoga pose. What? That whole sentence didn't make sense. He's having a jolly good yoga pose. It sometimes takes us a few moments to get back into the swing of things when we've had a break. Sorry, the line on the right, I think, was the line with the chameleon. I didn't actually, obviously I saw the sighting, wasn't there. Oh, another big yawn. But I'm pretty sure it was informal, but correct me if I'm wrong. Might have been informal, it might have been in Suku. I don't know. I think it was informal though. Shame boy. You can see licking the side of his paw, and we've noticed him doing this a lot. He still worries at the face injury. I think it is sore. Oh, apparently it was informal. Goody. So I'm not completely mad. It was informal. That had the tiny chameleon. And for those of you that are wondering what on earth we're talking about, that is a truly extraordinary sighting. Oh, oh, head rub. Male lions are actually often more affectionate than females towards each other. There's a lot of bonding that goes into the coalition, keeping the coalition members tightly grouped together. And it's important. They risk their lives for each other. They die for each other. So it's important to be very fond of your buddy, even to the point of sitting on him. Oh, I thought you were going to get moving. Take care. You wanted to know how far we are from these boys. Oh, hold on, sorry. Brotherly cuddles. It's nice to see this side of them. Another big yawn. You being very cutesy this evening. I almost want to go and scratch his belly. Sorry, take care. Actually, that brings me very, very neatly to your question. You want to know how far away we are. A little bit further than we were earlier. I've stopped here just to see which way they decide to go. We're probably about 60, 70 feet away from these lions, so not far at all. It is important to remember that they are wild, so I would never actually go up and give one a jolly good belly rub, because he really wouldn't like that, and he'd probably eat me. So they are completely wild, but they are very, very comfortable with us in the presence of the vehicles. So that means that we can get right up close and personal to them without bothering them. I was listening to another car somewhere. Look at that. That was such a stunning pose those two adopted. Beautiful. So we're not in any danger from them. They're not going to jump into the car. They don't see us as food, and they don't see us as a threat. However, now is right about the time, and that's why Byron's gone home, when human beings should no longer be on foot. During the day, if I were to walk up to them, they would run away or sit and watch me and growl, but they certainly would 99.9% of the time not attack. But at night, it becomes a lion's domain. Oh, hello. Sorry, I'm saying hello to one of the other vehicles that's just come in. It would certainly be a very bad idea to go walking on foot, because night is when lions are king. Are you planning on moving at all? Or are you just going to let him Fumo wander off all on his own? Bit of a lazy start this evening. Tinio's standard expression is disgruntled. I think it's the lip scar. I think it's the lip scar. It gives him a slightly raised lip on his left side. And then it gives him a disgruntled look. Now he's got the hooded eyes. He wants to go back to sleep. Hey, boy. Right now he just looks thoroughly unimpressed with the idea of actually moving anywhere. I wonder where Mfumo's gone. There we go. He's looking up, looking at where Mfumo's gone. Now, Vic, you want to know if they... Oh, he's coming back. How convenient. Vic, you wanted to know if I think they can hear me. Yes, they can. Absolutely they can. They're fully aware of our presence. They don't obviously understand the words that I'm saying, but all animals, to a greater or lesser degree, will understand tone. So, much in the same way that we understand being shouted at in any language, so will a male lion. I'm sorry, I'm trying to work out what on earth is in my car that's making a noise. There's something living in this vehicle with me. Oh, it's buzzing. Okay, it's buzzing. That's good. That means beetle, not reptile. These are strange sounds coming from close to my feet. Okay, well now I know what it is, roughly what it is. I can ignore it. I just didn't want to find myself surprised by a snake. So while our male lions decide as to whether or not they're in fact going to get moving, let's head back over to the Queen of Djuma, find out what she's up to.
Well, just like the lions, the Queen is not moving either. She is still looking very, very comfy atop her termite mound. And it's quite weird, it's so quiet at the moment. You can hear a few birds in the distance, but it is very, very, very quiet. I'm trying to listen to how many bird species I can hear. Actually, quite a few. I think I got 7 there. You can hear in the distance faintly, you can hear a red-chested cuckoo. The chittering of a cesticula and the zitting of probably a little blue waxball, or maybe possibly a petilia. Of course, we have the doves. A go-away bird and a fork-tailed drongo. Of course, there's also insects around. You can hear a cricket. Hello, Willow. Willow is 4 years old, and Willow wants to know, does the kitty like to sleep on dirt? Well, Willow, there's no one to make a bed for her, so she always sleeps on dirt, and as you can see, she does like it. She's very comfortable. Snoozing, she's even got a pillow. Quickly to Jamie.
Here you go. There's nothing as spectacular. No. There's one thing more spectacular than hearing a male lion roar, and that's hearing 2 of them roar at the exact same time. How cool was that? Yes, boy, thank you. I was so hoping they were going to roar before the end of the sunset safari, and they very kindly obliged. Look at that face. Perfect. Hopefully they'll give us one more rendition of that call before the evening falls and it's the end of the sunset safari. But that is them. For those of you that are new, that's them announcing a show of strength to the world, and also, of course, calling to, not necessarily in search of a response, but letting the rest of their coalition know where they are and what they're doing. Not what they're doing, but where they are in relation to the others. And it gives them a really good way of being able to spread out and patrol properly and make sure that all of the corners of their territory are covered, so that no other male lion thinks that it would be a good idea to come waltzing in. And it would be a very bad idea with the 4 Birmingham boys around. Just wanted to show you something, because I mentioned it earlier, and it flew out of... Oh, bye! Wait. It came charging, zooming out of the... Oh... Bye. It came zooming out of next to our first aid kit. Oh dear. Sorry, dung beetle. It's okay, you'll be fine. He can fly. I'll give him plenty of opportunity to move away before I drive away. But anyway, that was what was buzzing around and making all of that noise. And he flew straight out at my face, and he got such a shock. Right, I'm going to sit patiently with our beautiful lions and wait for them to roar once again. While we do that, let's head over to James so that he can say farewell.
That was spectacular to hear, wasn't it? Wonderful stuff. We haven't had those lions around for some length of time. Now, from one great predator of the ground, let us go to a predator of the sticks. I don't mean the sticks pride, of course. I mean sticks, literally. Wait. Oh. Behold. Hello. This is a little mantis that Craig managed to find. Isn't that cool? Look at his funny mouth parts. Now, it is, of course, a deeply voracious predator, this thing, and will be waiting for a mate. She will mate with the mate and then eat him, and then she will carry on, finding sticks and things, and then she will be eating much else in her life until she lays her eggs and then eventually drops dead. Yes, that's what I said. You saw her turn her head there in astonishment. Astonishment isn't in fact a word. Now, I've got the microscope at the wrong angle, so I'm finding it very difficult to figure out which way to turn it. There we go. Isn't that lovely? And you can see her little eyeballs and her antenna and the deadly spikes on her foot. Look at that. Oh, yes. Yes, that's very deadly. Okay, I'll just show her to you in the camera now quickly. That's her there. So she's tiny, and she looks just like a stick. Isn't she cool? That's very cool. All right, everyone, that's going to be it from the tent today. We're going to clean up here and see you tomorrow, probably in the tent as well from me. Thank you, Craig, for your efforts today. Let's go back across to those lions and the roaring Jamie.
Apparently, Brent can hear the males responding elsewhere on our reserve, and you can see our males listening intently. And that's good news, because it means that we might be treated to another spectacular performance before the night is out. You can see heads up, alert, ears out and listening. And there's all sorts of interesting things that happen when a lion roars. You can hear the members of their coalition responding in turn, essentially doing exactly what they did and letting the rest of them know where they are. And then you also will get the response of neighboring rival territorial males that will also be certain that they want to reinforce their own territorial boundaries, which to the west of the Birminghams is the Majingilan's territory. Look, he's listening. What did he hear? Amazing, that intently focused look. What did you see? And remember, of course, I also heard those alarm calls coming from behind us. And I don't know what caused that. Could be a leopard, could be another lion, I suppose. There we go, relaxed again. I'm going to give his buddy another head rub. Ah, Shelley, lovely to hear from you. Now, Shelley. Oh, big yawn. Sorry, Shelley. Hold on 1 second. I just want to see what these boys are going to do. Shelley, you want to know how big a lion's paw is. The answer is as big as a man's hand. They are absolutely massive. And they're very, very large indeed. And when we have a chance to, if you keep watching, we'll show you what male lion tracks look like. And you can see them. If I spread out my hand, that essentially encircles the size of a lion track on the ground. So they have absolutely massive feet. Once again, Tino showing reluctance to move. He basically just kind of wanted to go and lie on him for more and relax a little bit more. But he seems to be abandoned. Oh, big stretch. He's making little kitty cat noises, which is very embarrassing for a big scary male lion. Making little whines as he stretches. Let's wait and see if Mfumo calls again. As soon as Mfumo starts, then Tinyo follows suit. Come on, boy. Now he just looks a bit hunched over and miserable. He wasn't really ready to get up. It's like having a morning person and a person who's not a morning person combined together. And the immediate activity of the morning person invariably annoys the one that's not. I think Tinyo's feeling a little bit like that now. He really didn't want to get up. They're both hungry. They're both empty-bellied and they're both hungry. And the question is now whether or not they're going to head off and go and search for their own food, or if they're going to go and search for some of their lady friends to go and share a meal. Now, I don't know where the Nkumas are. Obviously, I've been away for a few days, so everything changes while you're away. I'm not quite sure where the Nkumas are. If I had to guess, I'd say Buffelshoek, which is to the north of us. But Tinyo and Mfumo tend to spend a lot more time with the Nkuhumas than the other two members of their coalition do. Dopily dozing off again. Oh, here we go. Awesome. Yay. I'm so glad that they did that for us one last time before we reach the end of the sunset safari. For those of you that are perhaps seeing that for the first time or hearing it for the first time, it's happening right here and right now. And isn't that incredible? We can actually feel it when we sit next to the lions when they roar like this. We can feel it through the vehicle. It vibrates up through the floor, and I can feel it in my feet and my chest. You can feel it vibrating through. So it really is a truly awe-inspiring sound, and it's definitely something that you should watch more of on our TV show at 11 p.m. on Nat Geo Wild on Sunday evening. For those of you, of course, in the States, you'll be able to experience more moments just like this. Megyorn, Tinyo's thinking about getting up now. Thinking about it, but with great reluctance. Right. Well, I think that's it for our male lions this evening. Keep watching the dam camera. They might be calling throughout the night. But it is time for Viam and myself to bid you farewell. So thank you, Viam. And thank you to all of you. It's lovely to be back. And I will catch up with you tomorrow for the sunrise safari. Bye-bye, everybody.
Well, it has been a very relaxing afternoon for the Queen of Djuma, and she still has not moved a muscle, as we're hoping she might go off to hunt before the end of the safari. She's very close to quarantine, so those of you who watch the Djuma Dam Cam, there could be a chance she might pop up down towards the waterhole at some point this evening, so keep those eyes peeled. But what a fantastic sunset safari. It's been great to be back. Wild dogs, leopards, and Jamie's had lions roaring, and of course the lovely elephant bull, and Byron with that incredible Bushbaby and Boomslang sighting, and James being his usual wonderful self in the tent. But of course we will be doing it right and ready and bright and early tomorrow morning for the sunrise safari. Maybe Karula will catch something close to home and we don't even have to drive far before finding the royal family. And who knows what those lions are going to get up to. And as I said, there's lions calling to the north, so maybe the Nkuhumas will come back. That would be wonderful. I feel like I haven't seen them in an age. But otherwise, we'll be looking for all the wonders of Africa. And for the last few seconds of drive, I'm sure you'd much rather look at the reclining queen Karula, and is wonderful to have her so close to home. And we wish her the best of luck as she goes off into the darkness later to hunt and hopefully keep those little rascals well fed. So from all of us here at Safari Live, see you bright and early tomorrow morning.